On this week's episode of Locked In with Ian Bick, I interview Larry Lawton to hear his story about how he went from stealing millions of diamonds to becoming the most notorious jewel thief in America to ending up becoming one of the biggest YouTube stars relating to prison content. Make sure you guys subscribe on our YouTube channel for exclusive membership to get access to perks such as seeing interviews before they drop, behind-the-scene photos, and interacting with me on a personal level. Thank you guys for tuning in to Locked In with Ian Bick. Larry Lawton, the jewel thief, one of YouTube's biggest prison stars. Welcome to Locked In. You just had like a crazy travel ride with me in the car. You thought I was going to hurt you or some crazy shit.
You know, you wouldn't remember this, but this is Appalachian. It was back a mob thing back in the day in the 50s when all the mobsters got together in upstate New York. And they ended up getting caught by local police, and they all scattered into the woods. And it's a very well known, if anybody looked at, and it's where they went. I said, shit, where are we? He's gonna fucking whack me up here. I'm in the middle of fucking nowhere. And Ian's got me. I can't do anything. He's driving. I mean, I put myself in a bad position. I got no piece, no weapon. Fuck.
Well, you're not the first guest. You're not the first guest that said that, but you made it here safely, and really looking forward to this interview. I mean, our viewership has been asking for you. I've been asking for you. I'm glad we finally got it together. What's your childhood like growing up? What's young Larry Lawton like?
You know, before I even start that, I have to say this studio is great. Good for you guys. And the guys that run it are really good guys. Beautiful place. So that, and thank you for having me.
Thank you, Larry.
And okay, you want to jump into my life? Is that what
yeah, I want to start at the beginning, man. Let's see what makes young Larry tick. I
was a crazy kid. I was getting in trouble young. I started bookmaking at 12 years old. I grew up in a very mob-associated neighborhood in the Bronx, New York, and my neighbor was in the mob. My mom actually is a nurse and actually took care of a mobster who burned in a car fucking bomb or whatever. And the neighborhood was full of teachers, doctors, and mobsters and construction workers. My dad was a construction worker. Well, I was always drawn towards easy way of doing things, smart. I was a pretty smart kid. I had a tough time. I was abused by a priest when I was young, and that's why I'm not religious, let's put it that way. I don't blame that on anything in life. People go on, things move on. People are assholes, so you just got to remember people are people. But I started bookmaking at 12 years old, and I was making about $100 to $125 a week. This is in 1973, 72.
So it's a lot of money.
It's a lot of money back then, and this is cash money. And I'm like a kid, you know. Then, of course, I don't just stop there. When I started getting a little older, what do? I rob fucking cars for money. We would taking cars to a chop shop for $500. You know, I had no fear. My brother was a year and a half older than me. The older kids, you know, I hung out with them, but they would pick on you. I was a little guy. I was not big like I am now. I went in the military at 132 pounds at 17 years old. So I was a small guy. But I was fearless, and I stabbed my brother with scissors. I split his head open with a 2x4. I went after other guys with knives. I mean, I was that kind of guy. I had no fear, and let's just do it. I had too many concussions, and maybe that's part of my problem, which is okay. I mean, listen, we all grow up a different way. Whatever neighborhood shapes you, people shape you, you know, your environment shapes you. But I learned a couple of things that I hold dear to my heart today. I'm very loyal. If I tell you I'm going to be here, Ian, I'm going to be here. Nothing was, you know, I mean, of course, if something happened with death or something, but I can call, I can set things straight. If I told you I'm going to be here, I'm going to be here. If I told you I'm ready at 10 in the morning, I'm ready at 10 in the morning.
Actually, I think I was waiting for 1 minute, Larry, while you were shooting your vlog.
No, you actually weren't. We were waiting for you in the lobby.
Oh, you were waiting for me. Okay, I had to text you, though, to come out.
No, you didn't. In fact, I didn't see my text because we were doing a vlog. And it was funny because I asked Nick, my sister, I said, Nick, what kind of car is it? Oh, it's the red car. because there was another blue car out there, and I said, "That's not him." No. So I saw you come up. So we did see you come up.
Now, do you think that you were influenced by like your dad and your dad's business with the contracting and the mob ties a little bit?
Oh, absolutely. My dad used to take me from bars, and my dad built the World Trade Center. He was one of the head guys on the World Trade Center doing what they call tin knocking or sheet metal work. Matter of fact, when 9/11 happened, that hit him hard because he literally, I was on the top floor of the World Trade Center in 1970, and the construction workers tied a rope around me and let my brother and I crawl to the edge because it was built from 1968 to 1972. 4 years, they built the two biggest buildings in the world at the time. And my dad used to take me around, and he used to pay off mobsters. And I didn't know what it was, but we'd go to all these bars and these pool halls, and all these old guys say, "Hey, kid, how you doing?" You know, they got the cigar in their mouth and the hat on their head, and I'm playing pinball with them. "Listen to your father. He's a good man. Listen to your father." You know, and I'm like I'm a little kid. I remember I was 10 years old at that time.
Yeah.
And 9, 10 years old. I used to travel with my dad all over the city to do that. And of course it had some kind of effect on me. But, you know, again, I hate to put any kind of blame or any, I became this because of this.
No, but it does have influence.
Well, everything
on
has
someone.
influence. You know, the school you went to.
Yeah.
You know, if you went to a Catholic school like I did, that had an influence. A bad one as it was, it had an influence.
Now, do you guys have money, or are you guys well off?
No. We didn't have money. My family, you know, when my dad wasn't working and he was laid off, we had 5 kids, a dog. We lived in a little bungalow house in the Bronx. Matter of fact, when they bought the house, it had 2 bedrooms. My dad built 2 bedrooms in the attic. You know, that's what they did back then in these older houses in the Bronx. But it was a close-knit community. But no, there were people with money, and then there were people with no money. And I remember one time we went to a bowling alley, and I know people who call I have a buddy who ended up being very big in the bowling business, and he says, "Don't ever call it an alley, call it a bowling center." Well, fuck, it's a bowling alley to me.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we're in the bowling alley, and my buddy comes out, and he's got the bowling shoes on, you know, the red and the black or red and whatever gold shoes. And he go, "What do you got? You got the shoes on?" He goes, "Yeah, they're better than my shoes." So, I mean, we had people who had no money, and we had people with money, but nobody cared. It wasn't like you looked at anybody, "Oh, you're richer than him," or "You're poorer than him." It wasn't like that. It was the neighborhood you lived in. And this is in the 60s and 70s now.
Now, the situation with like the priest in the church, how do you think that affected your childhood? Did you ever like dwell on it, or do you think that propelled you into doing like maybe more crime or kind of like bucking out against the world?
Wow, Ian, that's a great question. I don't get that much. You know, psychologists always said that had a big impact on you. They often said that I started really acting out at that time, meaning maybe proving you're a man, proving whatever you think you're a man. You're a fucking boy, a fucking little peepee, and a little fucking kid. What the fuck, you're a kid. You don't know what's going on. I'm sure that had psychologists, my writer of my book, Gangster Redemption Peter, said, "Larry, it's quite obvious what happened to you." I mean, but again, I hate to put an excuse on why I did what I did.
Yeah.
And I won't. I will never do that.
Do you ever like sit back and reflect though, like on those early ages, like to think like what makes you tick now? Like you were just saying about like the loyalty aspect and being a man on your word. Like for me, I sit back and reflect a lot about my past, who I've met, what's happened, what I've been through, and that's kind of like shaped me as the person. So it's not necessarily like putting blame or using that as an excuse, because like we own our actions and our decisions, but we use it as like a tool in a way to move forward.
You know, reflecting back is something I haven't done with all I've done. I've done a lot in life. I mean, I've lived a pretty full life. I often say if I drop dead tomorrow, don't feel bad for Larry, have a drink for him, because I did a lot. And if I reflect back, I don't feel like I have time. And I've done so much with TV and businesses and, you know, my bad business, everything else, which I'm sure we're going to get into. It's hard to reflect. But if I actually, you know, I remember being in the hole in prison, and I was in the hole for 3 years, and I was 11 straight months in the hole. And I remember thinking when I was going to kill myself, you know, you look back at your life, and I had a rope around my neck in prison, a piece of sheet, and I was that close. After so many months, you just start fucking going crazy. I don't care who you are. Anybody who tells you isolation doesn't kill people, it kills people every day.
Oh, absolutely.
And because we're social animals, especially me, I'm a social animal.
Yeah.
As we know, I like to bullshit and talk and hang out. And so it's rough. So I'm sure it has shaped me. And I am sure reflection-wise, I almost don't want to listen. Live life. I don't know. You know who's supposed to reflect on you when you're gone. People will reflect on you and say, "Hey, Larry did the right thing. Larry was already a good guy." Yes, trust me. A lot of people ask me about regrets, Ian, and I don't have any. And I know that sounds like harsh, but I don't believe it's harsh. Everything that happened to us makes us who we are today. And regrets, no. Would I change things? Absolutely. Bill Gates said it. He would change things. And the richest man in the world at the time. And they said, would you change things? Of course he would. You'd take away the mistakes or whatever they were. But I don't look at him. I try to make amends. I do the right thing by people. I feel like I help a lot of people. I think that's what my ultimate thing is. I love to help people because when you help people, and that's how I have the highest success rate of any program in the country for kids. I don't know if you knew that. And I'm used by the federal government. I'm used by police agencies. I'm used in court systems. And often people ask me, they say, why do you get through? Why do you get through to young people? Why do they listen to you? Because when they make a mistake, they now have lived the situation like you that not many people have went through. And you have an opportunity now to explain your story, which you do, and now open the eyes of people and say what's right, what's wrong, or in your view, what's right or wrong, or the crap you went through. Because I don't care who you are. There's not one person I ever met that went to prison and said, oh, that was great. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Nobody does.
Yeah.
And you have now an opportunity to educate others. And if you miss that opportunity to educate somebody, that's kind of, I look at my legacy. I don't want to miss that opportunity. And it doesn't even have to do with my crime. It has to do with YouTube. It has to do with production, TV. I've done so much for so many years. If I can help somebody, it helps you when you help someone because you feel good. You want to help.
Yeah.
I hope you do. If you don't, then that's when you're fucking disconnected.
And I think that's like the message of this podcast because it's an inspirational podcast. Like we'll bring people on and it's not just talking. I mean, yes, it's talking about like the crazy shit that happens with the crime in the prison, but the bigger thing is the message at the end of it. And I think what gives this like a unique perspective is that as an interviewer, I came from going to prison. So I understand on a certain level of like the struggles that the guest has gone through and what's happened to them and like how I can relate to them on that level. And I think that separates us apart from other areas where they've never had that experience before. Now, getting back to your story, high school, are you doing drugs at all, alcohol, anything like that?
First of all, you are 100% right, and keep it up. I listened to your podcast, and there's some really good stuff. I was never into drugs. I was into gambling, and we would play craps in the street, literally cards, all that kind of stuff. I drank, stuff like that, but nothing in such excess that it was like I was an alcoholic or
addiction.
Or drug. I don't have an addiction issue. I've done every drug in the book.
Yeah.
You name them, I've done them. And I did oxycodone, 180 milligrams for 10 years. I needed them. You saw my back. And literally I survived. And I've been through medical and pain clinics and doctors that you're never going to get high. You will die before you get high. You have so much pain receptors in your body lighting off that's how that works. So I've learned a lot because I went to Jackson Memorial Pain Clinic and understand it. So I'm a social person. I like to and I'm a believer in all drugs. If you ever listen to my podcast, I had 2 doctors on my podcast. I think all drugs should be legal. And they go, what do you mean, even fentanyl? Even fentanyl. Once you start picking and choosing what people can do, then you're taking that choice away from them. If you want to hurt yourself and kill yourself, you can go to Home Depot and go get, poison for seeds or grass poison or whatever the hell it is and kill yourself. Or you want to go sniff glue if these kids are sniffing paint or whatever the hell they're doing. If you want to do something, you can do it.
Yeah.
But I just think that we're taking away, and it's being proven. As I speak today, Sweden and a lot of other countries are legalizing drugs, and they're finding out that they have a lower crime rate, lower recidivism rate, and they're putting more money and resources into rehabilitation and education, and it's working.
Yeah. Now, by the time you're 17, you joined the military. Why do you decide to do that?
You know, I had to get away from the craziness I was in, and I was a troublemaker in school, troublemaker everywhere, so I said, I got to go. It's time to go, and I went in the military. I joined the United States Coast Guard.
And this is instead of college?
Yeah, well, I didn't even graduate high school.
Oh, you didn't graduate? No.
At that point, I did not. Now I got a college degree, of course, but
Okay.
no, I did not graduate high school. I left at the end of the 11th grade. Kind of like I had to. The school wanted to put me in another school and stuff like that because I was a troublemaker. And I said, fuck this. And I went down and I joined the service. I joined the Coast Guard. I could have joined any one. I had a very, very high ASVAB score, they call it. So when I went into Coast Guard, I love the water. I lived near the Throgs Neck Bridge. Well, I say water. I lived near the East River where there was a sewer coming out with shit. But you know that was our beautiful country club. So it was funny, and because it was a jetty, we used to swim at a beach, and literally on the other side of the jetty was a sewer. But I mean, that's just what we did. It was the East River, and at the end of the East River is the Throgs Neck Bridge, Whitestone Throgs Neck Bridge. So I went into service, and I loved it. I really loved it, but I still had that criminal in me. I mean, I was in the Coast Guard, and once I got to the position of power where I was buying items from the Navy, what they call supply places, I was sending it back to the bar, sending it back to people I know, you know, to keep favor with people and stuff. It was just in me. I mean, I don't know if that's a thing.
You had like a passion to do something. Like you were like an entrepreneur, but you didn't know how to like put that into business. You was like putting it into crime. You were like an entrepreneurial criminal.
Never heard it put that way, but you're 100% right.
I mean, like the younger me, that's how I was. Like I had all this ambition, but it was like unguided, and I think that's what got me into like shady shit, because it was just like all this passion to like make this nightclub work, but I never like it was the mindset was do whatever it takes. So I'm gambling, I'm running all this money through a bank account, not doing accounting. I never looked at the right steps. So it's kind of similar to like you in that sense, which is like an interesting perspective. Now, how long are you in the military for?
I was in the military almost 8 years when I got hurt. I got hurt at about 6 years in.
Do you go overseas at all?
Oh, yeah. I was in Alaska. Well, I mean, went all the way in the Pacific. I was over in Micronesia. I went all the way to Australia, New Zealand. I was on a 378-foot ship out of Hawaii, and we used to do our patrols in Alaska, which was this 200-mile fisheries conservation zone. So we were boarding Russian ships, and this is during the Cold War. So this is some kind of crazy shit. This was when there was actually an incident in 1977 or 78 where a seaman Kadurkis actually jumped from a Russian ship to a Coast Guard ship. The Coast Guard let the Russians on the ship to get him back, and they ended up killing that guy.
Yeah.
So there was a big thing in the Coast Guard at that time where we did briefings and stuff. If anybody wants to defect to the United States, that you have to bring them back to the ship and then bring them back to shore, and then the State Department would handle it. You know, it's funny, Ian, though. Years later, we used to go on board fishing boats out in the Bering Sea, life-threatening stuff. And we would find ships $1 million. Now, this is a lot of money back in the 80s, early 80s. And we would find these ships $1 million and, you know, for violating the 200-mile Fisheries Conservation Act. I find out years later, I mean, the last 10 years, 5 years, that all of it was bullshit. I mean, that they would take these fines that we were given, and the State Department would like, oh, you know, if you guys host coffee hour, you know, we're going to wipe that fine out. You know, what the, like, it meant nothing. It really, there was no deterrent. It was just it was a tool for the State Department. I mean, you can get into whys and hows, and I'm sure they'll justify whatever they can do. It's just, you know, that's the way life was, and we didn't know. We did what we were supposed to do. And I got hurt in the Bering Sea. I fell on a ship, crushed my spine, as you see in the pictures. We can put them up if you'd like. I'll send them to you. And I'm a lucky man to be alive right now and somewhat healthy.
And that ruined your military career right then?
Oh, I was retired. I am a retired veteran right now.
Now, do you think if that never happened, you wouldn't I mean, you wouldn't be the person you are now because that would have propelled you into doing what comes next. Like you could have maybe finished your career with the military.
Oh, I would have.
Yeah.
There's no question I would have been stayed in. I loved it. I mean, at that point, I had 60 guys working for me. I was running the ship, like the deck department, they call it, the small boats. I was a small boat captain.
What do they call you in the military? I'm curious. Boats?
B-O-A-T. Matter of fact, I can show it.
Oh, man.
Can I show it?
Yeah, of course. We had JD shirtless on this podcast.
Well,
so.
There's a needle through my nipple, and it's called boats. And that's because I was a boatswain.
Okay.
And so my name was Boats. And listen, I was still the way I am. I was a hothead, if you want to call it that.
But you had like some discipline to a sense, like you were
very
grounded.
disciplined, like workout wise, or I'm still disciplined in whatever I do. If I'm the kind of guy that if I put my mind to something, I'll go through a wall to do it. And it's just and that's even how I started my YouTube career. That's a funny story, but we'll get into that if you want later.
Well, that's what makes you stand out. That's what makes individuals like that stand out, because not everyone has that work ethic or that grind.
The grind, you have it. There are some guys that we know who have it, and I respect it. I mean, and it doesn't have to be just grind with YouTube. It could be a grind with the studio. It could be a grind with Nick, and whatever the grind is. When you stick to something when it's not so glorified, not so fun, and you want to keep learning, because you won't quit. That's the grind. You won't quit. You don't give a shit. You won't quit. I love people like that.
Yeah. I mean, Joe Rogan said that best too. He likes the guys that like fall down in life and then dedicate themselves to something. Like with me, it's like this podcast, this like brand, and then it's also like the gym. I'm very like, go to the gym in the morning, get my workout in, get my run in. I'm boxing at night. And like, that's me. Like, that's what I'm doing right now. And nothing's going to get in like the way of that.
So. Something's going to get in the way. It's called health.
Health.
Wait do you get older? Nah, you keep doing it. You're doing good. I remember doing that.
How old are you when your career with the military is over?
Wow. I was hurt, and I was at 25. I was out.
What year?
I went in at 17, so 25 a little bit. This is 1985 when I really was technically out. I was in, but technically out. I was waiting for my military discharge from medical retirement because I was actually giving blood every 3 weeks at Bethesda Naval Hospital in Washington, D.C. because they were going to do surgery back then. And then I refused that. I started getting along just good enough that I can make it. And I'm not a guy that loves surgeries or anything. I have enough now. But back then I didn't.
And what's your mindset at this time? Like you just lost the something that was so important to you.
Listen, I went right back into what I knew best, which was crime. I started bartending and bouncing and doing stuff for a card game for the mob. I had my connections, people who knew me from as a kid. He was a hustler. He used to steal cars. He used to make money. He's loyal. He's from the neighborhood, that kind of stuff.
This is the Italian mob.
Yeah. And so they all knew who you were. I mean, you were a tough kid. You didn't cry, The kid, that kid's fighting in the street. That kid's a kid. He don't give a shit. And so that, you could get a job. So here I am. I'm out. I'm starting to feel better. Even though I'm hurt, I'm feeling better. Getting in shape, starting to do things I want to do. And I've become very, very good shape. And I was one of those mindsets that you can overcome anything. And you can, to a degree, until something else hits you. And obviously, later in life, it hit me. But I ended up getting in great shape. Then I started bookmaking and bartending. First bartending, then bookmaking. I actually worked for a Jewish guy named Mac in Queens, New York. And I was actually on Union Turnpike. I remember it well. It was Piano Lounge. And this guy named Mac, they used to say when he died, the economy went down. He was what they call a layoff guy. All the action from bookmakers. See, how bookmaking works is they think it's like, oh, you're just a bookmaker and you make money. No. How bookmaking works is if you take $100,000 on one team and $100,000 on the other team, you automatically make the VIG. You make 10%. So you make 10 grand. Well, what happens if you have $150,000 on the Jets and they're playing the Giants, you only got $50,000 on the Giants? If you just don't do anything, you become a gambler.
Yeah.
And you better hope the Jets win.
Yeah.
So what you do is you lay off the difference to make the two games even, so you're a bookie. Well, who would they go to? A guy named Mac. Mac was who I worked for, and I remember him to this day, and he taught me the business very well. I used to go get him a English muffin with cream cheese and jelly at the luncheonette right next door every day, and he'd sit down. I mean, he was a great guy, man. And he used to take the action. I remember him taking the action from a guy with John Gotti's crew, and I remember he just said, "If they lose, I want this money. I'm not going to anybody but you." The guy who came to him, you ain't gonna tell John Gotti you want your money. You know what I mean? That ain't happening.
Yeah.
And he was notorious for that. Not paying.
Yeah.
And what are you gonna do?
And you're just surrounded by like all these different individuals. You're learning, you're watching, and kind of seeing what's going on.
I'm a sponge, Ian. I'm a sponge now with YouTube or anything I do now. But I'm a sponge. I mean, I'm taking in how it works, how they speak to people, who they got. Now, I was taking bets now at $500 or $1,000. That's small. Mac is taking $50,000, $80,000. And I'm talking in the 80s now. This is 85. So then, 86, that's.
And I'm guessing you get bored with this and you need to bring it to another level.
No. I don't get bored with it at all. I mean, I was put there with the mob that was learning, and I loved it, and I started doing it. Now, I was also muscle in a card game, meaning like I was the bouncer for a card game.
You were the bouncer, okay.
Yeah, of the card game. And, guys are coming in with big money and stuff of that nature. And you better know your people skills. Because if you grab the wrong guy, you might just die,
Yeah.
But you have to understand what's going on around you. And I learned that. And then we were, boosting stuff. We were robbing stuff. We used to rob trucks at a Kennedy airport. We used to rob, we'd get a lick. Someone would come up, hey, I remember there was a Crazy Eddie's. It was like a store back in the day. Crazy Eddie's. It was like an electronics store. Well, we knew manager there, owes money, so, lets us in the back, tells us when the code is not on, everything else. We'd rob that. So I become more of a robber, muscle kind of guy, collect. A few drug dealers didn't like me as well.
Do you guys have weapons? Like, are you carrying a gun, a knife? What do you do?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I was always with a gun. I mean, at one point when I got to my base, I used to have 2 or 3 guns. I mean, I was just a little bit off. I hate to
You
say
were walking around with 3 guns.
Oh, I had one on my leg, and I sometimes had 2. And I did.
Now you're licensed to carry them because you were in the military?
Well, no. I'm out of the military.
Okay.
I officially retired in '86, so I ended up fully retired. Now I'm bouncing. Am I not? I'm not at all. So then, in 1987, I get married in Brooklyn, New York. Big mob wedding, the whole works. I mean, I got married in 18th Avenue and 86th Street in a place called the Oriental Manor. And my wedding, I got married at a place called Regina Pace's church. They called it the last mile because it was a long, long mile, like down the aisle.
FBI was probably outside with cameras.
Oh, absolutely.
Seeing the who's who.
Yeah, it really was. And I'm a nobody, but there were a lot of people there because both families were connected.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of people there. Then, I decided to start a new life, get away from this stuff. Things happen in New York. You don't want to hang on to bad people and bad. Let's start a new life. So I go to Florida.
You moved to Florida. Okay.
I moved to Florida. In Florida, I opened a pizzeria called Lenny's Pizzeria.
You opened a pizzeria?
Yeah. Oh, I had a pizzeria.
You were making pizzas?
I was so good at making pizza, I could throw a pie as high as the ceiling.
So...
Then I burned the place down. You know that part.
Oh, you burned the place down?
I burned the whole plaza down. I didn't burn just the police.
What, with the pizza oven?
No. For an insurance job.
Oh, you did that on purpose?
Yeah, of course I did.
So what, do you bring gasoline in there and light the whole place?
No. What happened was, now I'm in New York. I have the pizzeria. It's going. And I know connections. So guys come see me. So a guy starts bringing diamonds to me. Just loose diamonds. Just kind of like, oh, wow, look at the diamond. Can you get rid of this, Larry? Matter of fact, the guy had a cell phone place, too. Back then, they had cell phone stores. Yeah. Like that was a big deal. Oh, Beeper. It was a Beeper store. You guys wouldn't remember.
Like the Beeper Emporiums and whatever.
It was a
like
beeper,
that,
I don't know how you age your guys, people. Anyway, they were beepers. And I knew the guy named Bob, and he would come to me with stuff. And I'm starting to move hot items, and I'm doing good. Who the fuck gives a shit about pizza? I said, fuck this pizza fucking business shit. I got to get rid of this fucking thing. How do I get rid of this pizza business? I'm going to burn it down. I'm going to get the insurance
You could have just sold
money.
it?
I didn't think it because I didn't give a fuck about it. I wasn't giving a shit about how much money I made in it.
Yeah.
I just want to get rid of it. I said, fuck, I'll burn the plaza down.
You know what's crazy, Larry, is that you want to be legit during this time frame, but a part of you keeps reeling yourself back into like the criminal aspect. Like you go to the military to be legit, but you want to keep doing things on the side. You get out, you're doing stuff, you want to break away from that, go into a pizza shop, and now the crime life's drawing you back in.
You know, I'm not, no excuse. I like the crime life. So what happened, I have a pizzeria. So I said, how do I get rid of this pizzeria? Fuck it, let me torch it. I mean, I'll torch it for insurance money. Well, I was in a plaza. Funny story. I ended up getting caught, but not caught that I didn't get my insurance money, but I'll tell you what happened. So I'm sitting there, and I said, okay, I got to get rid of this pizzeria. So I have my wife and I in the pizzeria. She has no idea what's going on. And there's another couple that we know are swingers. So we go, I'm a swinger. So anyway, we go, I'm going to say it, keep her out of everything. And we go to their house at night. And what I did was I didn't know this, how good the fire marshals are. I lit the ceiling with a lighter just to see if the asbestos would light. It doesn't light. But there's a charred mark. I forget about it. It's a week early. So during the night of the pizzeria fire, I said, okay, I'm going to light the garbage can on fire, close the door. It's a Sunday. Close the door. And then it'll go, and then I'll get the beeper alert because the alarm went to the beeper. And I'll just go there. And, you know, it'll come back. Oh, my God, my pizzeria's on fire. And, you know, I'll get my insurance company and be out of business. So I light the garbage pail on fire. It's going. Leave the place. I lock it. We get in the car, and I go to the friend's house to go in the jacuzzi. I'm waiting for this beeper to go off. It never goes off. What the fuck? The beeper's not going off. I'm thinking something's wrong. I'm going to go by the place on the way home. Now it's 11 o'clock, and this is about 8. I go by, and it's like nothing happened. So I tell my wife, I got to stop at the pizzeria for a second. I go in. I open the door, and along the wall, it's charred. The fire went out. It didn't even go on. The fire, it's charred along the wall. I get mad. I take a lighter, and I light the pizza boxes. I have pizza boxes. I light the pizza boxes. I get out, leave, go home. Sure enough, 10 minutes later, you know, the alarm goes off. You call your place. You better get there. Your pizzeria's on fire. I race down. I wasn't far, a mile or so, a mile and a half from the pizzeria. I get there. Oh, my God, my pizzeria. Little do I know, I burned the whole plazas on fire.
The rest of the shops.
Oh, there was a barbecue place. There was a travel agency. There was a beverage store. There was a nail shop. They're all fucking going.
There's
down.
no sprinkler system or anything.
Nah, there was none of that shit.
And there's no cameras to track it or
no
anything.
cameras or no nothing.
So what
happened?
They
didn't really burn to the ground. They really got inundated with smoke because the ceilings, there was no in between truss. It was just, it went through the whole entire building. Matter of fact, they all liked me because they all made insurance money. I didn't. Well, what happened was I ended up getting an insurance adjuster and all that, and they put the plaza fire out. Fire marshals know that it's an arson. Now, it's not just an accident or fire. Boy, I learned that in prison. I know how to burn a building down now from some dudes I knew I was in the joint with.
Wait, how did they know it was just an arson?
There was 3 origins of a fire. There was the one I tried on the ceiling, the one along the wall, and the original one. They know that.
So did you get arrested for that?
No. They interviewed me. They interviewed my ex-wife, who was a solid woman, knows nothing.
You were at the swingers party.
At a party. Yeah, right. That was a way, nobody knows anything. They knew. I mean, they knew it's somebody because they asked who had the code to get in and out, and the cook had the code, and somebody else, that cleaning person had the code. You had the code. Your wife had the code. Who else had the code? Because, I should have left the door open or something and not put the code on. There's a lot of things I should have did.
Or a break-in, like throw a brick through the window or something.
Right. But then the alarm would have went off.
But it's a different time period back then, too. So
totally.
Someone couldn't get away with that now. I was in prison with a guy that tried to torch up his office space. Got 10 years. It was just too easy to connect, like, the dots.
Oh, no, I could do it now.
Oh, now you could. Oh, I don't want to hear about it.
I don't want to tell anybody online about how to do it. I know how to do it now. I'll tell you. I can tell your audience right now how to burn something down. You'll never know.
So this,
because I was with some of the biggest arson guys in the world.
hey, prison. All the guys I talk to, they say it's like the book of connections in prison.
Oh,
Like,
isn't that the
that's
truth?
where you learn. I think one of the biggest stories that like I remember is that I would be sitting with guys. One guy was in prison for 25 years for a bank robbery. Went in with a gun, this and that, got like 50 grand. Then there's another guy talking to him who got like $300,000 and was doing a 5-year sentence because all he did was pass a note and say, give me the money. And they're obligated to give the money at that. They said, this is a robbery. The second you add a gun into it or say you have a gun, it changes the ball game and you get that enhancement. So this guy was able to walk in, walk out, and this guy's just studying it. He's taking notes. He's like, this is what I'm going to do when I get out. It's fucking crazy.
Well, talk about crazy. I was with some guys who did the armored cars and shit. So those guys are really the big boys. I mean, forget banks. Why rob a bank when you can rob the armored car? It's got all the money in it, or the armored car depot.
Yeah.
Obviously. But I robbed, in my career, I went to the bigger place. I went to Diamonds, where, as you know, I was on TV and talking about they did $136 million in diamonds in a briefcase. Where can you put $136 million in anything without having a hand truck and an 18-wheeler to take it away?
Yeah.
Only with diamonds. And they had it in the briefcase, and he got away with it. And to this day, they got away with it.
So let's get into the diamond aspect. How do you go from this, failed attempt at an arson, one of the worst criminals in that regard, to now...
Well, I wasn't. Listen, I was an opportunist criminal. I mean,
opportunist.
I was also going back and forth to Brooklyn, to help with business.
Yeah.
Meaning, if they needed somebody to get roughed up,
and
or
this is the
like
mob.
that. Yeah.
Okay.
If they needed somebody to get roughed up or do something, I'd be back in New York.
So when are you exposed to your first heist, your jewelry?
Oh no.
heist?
Well, my first jewelry robbery. I mean, robberies I've been involved in.
Yeah.
Jewelry robberies was a setup. I was called in New York and they said, "Hey, Larry, we got something for you." And this guy wants his jewelry store robbed and get the insurance, and you're going to get the money from the jewels, and this guy's going to get, the insurance money, and we're taking a piece of both actions.
You just love the insurance angle at this point.
Well, I'm thinking I love it. I didn't get paid. Remember, I never got paid on that robbery.
Yeah, but you're thinking there's opportunity there.
Insurance companies are the biggest scumbags in the world. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. Anybody's listening who's in the insurance business.
No, I get it.
Those guys are the real criminals.
So you go to New York to do this?
No, I don't go
setup.
to New York. The robbery's in Florida.
It's in Florida. Okay.
Right. So I end up doing this robbery. I get the information on the robbery. I knew who was going to be there. I knew everything. I had to make it stage like a real robbery. But I knew where the stuff was going to be. I knew who was going to be in there, how many people were in the store, all the works I needed to know that you would normally do to case the store. So I robbed the store. My first robbery, I make $150K in my pocket. I said, wait a minute.
They paid you. It was a set payment. You knew you were
No, depending on if I did it right and everything
Okay.
else, of course. And I got that money. I go, oh my God, this I got to do this shit. And I ended up becoming the biggest jewel robber in the United States. I'm still known to this day as the biggest jewel robber that ever been in the United States.
Now, how old are you when that happens? That first robbery.
28.
Now, how did you know, to case a store, what to
Well,
look
again,
for?
the first one I didn't.
Okay, so it was trial by error.
Well, the first one was a setup. So I knew there was only going to be one person in there. I knew where the stuff was. I knew where the heavy money was. In other words, every jewelry store has a box of diamonds. It's looks like a card box. You ever see a bunch of baseball cards? There's 700 and some players in the major leagues, and it comes in a box, Topps box about that big. And that's what a jeweler's box will look like, but that's all envelopes of diamonds. So I knew where that was. I knew how many people would be in the store. I knew nobody was coming. I knew that the mailman wasn't coming. I knew when he come, because this was all the information given to me. Now, since this information was given to me, I end up understanding I need that information for every robbery. See, after the first robbery and I make all this money, I go, wait a minute. This could be real good. You know what I mean? This is my thing. Now, I remember going to New York and saying, I'm going to rob. They go, you do it? Yeah, go ahead. You don't rob in New York. I wasn't allowed to rob in New York City.
Why is that? Because of the mob?
Because everybody's protected there some way or the other. If I rob the wrong store, start a war.
So where are you robbing? Like, what's your main targets?
All over the East Coast. Florida, Georgia, Maryland, Connecticut. I got one right in Bridgeport, I think it was.
And these are jewelry stores.
Jewelry stores, but they're always a wholesaler as well. I wouldn't just rob a jeweler. You got to go where the money is. So if they're a wholesaler, that means they're wholesaling to other jewelers as well as having a storefront themselves.
Now, walk me through like the day of a robbery. Like, what's it like going from beginning to the end?
Well, okay, once you pick your store out, you know what store you're going to rob. Okay, I'm going to rob, I don't know, this jewelry store in the corner. I cased them out for 3 weeks. I know when the mailman's coming. I know when any deliveries are coming. I know who works there. I know what cars they're in. I know what their neighbors' cars are. Like it was always in a plaza, like with either an anchor store, like a Winn-Dixie or a Publix or a big grocery store, because you want to do that because in those stores you could sit and case them and you look normal, like you're waiting for your wife that's she's shopping and you're waiting for her. Because if it's a lone jewelry store and you're just sitting across the street in a parking lot, someone says, what the fuck is he looking at all day? I mean, you can't do that. And I had to know when people are coming and going. And, so all of that is done. The day of the robbery is when I got myself ready. Now, I had a routine. Now, my routine was I would dress, nicely, whether it could be a shirt, nice shirt, a collared shirt, but always a long sleeve because I had a tattoo, not as many as I do now. But I had a tattoo. And what I would do was I would have it's sometimes a sports jacket, sometimes not. I'd have a pillowcase tucked under there. That's for getting the jewels. I would have rubber gloves. I would have flex cuffs, which are just, the wire ties, but put together. So you choose them and tie somebody up. And I had always multiple. I had those in jacket pockets or suit or the pant pockets and everything else. I had my gun in the back. Now I had a BB gun. I didn't use a real gun. So the gun is here, and I already went in this place already. The guy knows who I am. He thinks, I'm a builder in the area, and I'm looking to get a wife. So when I walk, hey, Mike, he'd say like that. I had a couple of aliases. Hey, Mike, how you doing? I just come back. I wanted to ask you something about that diamond. I even left other stuff that I had in the jewelry to get cleaned. So I think, oh, wow, this guy's real legit. Who's going to leave their jewelry here to come back and get it? You know what I mean? And I would do it. I would get to know him like he thought he knew who he was. And, of course, I know when there's going to be people in there or not. So when I come in for the day of the robbery, I might come in with my partner or not. Sometimes I take it down myself, or he would come in. And I'd tell him the night before, I think I'm going to bring my partner. He wants to get something for his girl. Oh, bring him in anytime. So when you walk in with somebody else, it's... oh, okay. There's a big sale. Now, when I walked into that jewelry store, I know so much already that I know that the counters, like these desks, might have a buzzer on them. I also know that the jeweler might have a key fob, just like a car key fob, that if he hits that fob, the alarm goes off. So if his hands are in his pocket, I'm sure enough not going to, announce a robbery because he's going to hit the button and then do what you're going to do. No way. What I would do was I would wait for him to be coming. He would be between maybe two cabinets or whatever, and his hands are out. I see everything's calm. Everybody, I knew where the other person was. Now, if my partner's in there and they had another person at the counter, he's already talking to her at the counter, and he's watching her. And I would look, and I would make a move, jump the counter. Get out. It's a fucking robbery. Get out. Freak this guy out, man. Fuck, he's on his back. I got him cuffed up. His face is fucking down. Don't move. I'll fucking blow your fucking head off. I'll close your eyes, motherfucker. And he's down on the floor. He's fucking there. Don't fucking open those eyes. I'll fucking kill you. He fucking shut him so hard I'd see him squeeze his eyes. Now, I proceed to take over the whole fucking store. Now my partner already got that other person down. They're all flex cuffed. Everybody's done. Now, most of these stores had buzzers to go into them. So you had a buzz to get in. I like that because they're letting Larry in because Larry's a good guy. Larry's a customer. Now Larry fucking flipped to be fucking, I go from, a nice guy to, Darth Vader or some shit. And now anybody else wants to come in, they have to hit the buzzer to get in, knock. And I would let them in. I would walk up to the door, hit the buzzer because you know where the buzzer, open up, come on in. Oh, it's a robbery. Oh, get over here. One time I had 10 people tied up.
Oh, wow.
In a fucking store.
Now, how are you doing this with no mask on?
None. But I would alter my face. I had hair at the time. I would sometimes wear glasses. I never wore glasses at the time. So I would wear glasses and it would be clear. Or I would I used to always have a goatee, mustache or something. So now I'm clean shaven. I would sometimes put a Band-Aid somewhere and people would get distracted. Did you know out of all the robberies, first of all, if anybody knows anything, eyewitness description is the most unreliable description there is, period. And it is true for a fact.
Yeah.
They had me at 6'2", 160 pounds with red hair. They had me at 5'4", at 300 pounds, at, black. I mean, they went from one extreme to the other, and I used to laugh and get in the newspaper. The description of the man was 6'4". I'm 5'9". I've not grown or shrunk since.
There's no cameras in these jewelry stores?
When they had cameras, I used to take them.
Oh, you would take okay.
Yeah, see, back then they didn't have the cameras where they would be off.
So you couldn't do this now, like what you're...
You can, but there's a way to do it.
No, we don't want to know about that.
Again, I actually went over this one time with somebody.
Yeah.
But listen, where there's a will, there's a way.
Of course.
Obviously. But back then, I used to take the whole machine. Matter of fact, there's a video of me robbing a cigar store on my site. And I explain at the end what that person can do to prevent a robbery just from a professional like me.
Yeah.
And it's really good. He goes, oh, shit, I didn't know that. Oh, shit, I didn't know that.
Now, as this professional jewel thief, do you have principles? Like what are your rules? What are your rules?
Yeah, my rules, I was never going to hurt somebody in a robbery. That was off the table. I wasn't going to shoot somebody. I mean, I threaten them and make it, but I'm not going to blow. I had one guy, and I think it was Marietta, Georgia. And I had him and his wife were in the store. I said, I'm going to kill her. He goes, go ahead. What do you say to the guy? And it was like, what the fuck? I mean, then I ended up grabbing him by the hair or something. And I said, I'll just fucking cut one of your fingers off. Or, whatever I came up with that worked. But it was like, he didn't give a shit about his fucking wife.
Yeah.
I wonder what they talked about after that robbery,
He was probably cheating.
Yeah, I'm
Try to get rid of it.
I think it was more than that. But anyway, yeah. So, I mean, most people are going to give it up. But my goal, we weren't going to hurt anybody in a robbery. That was off the table.
So that was your number one rule?
Yeah, because, I was a professional. I wasn't there to hurt somebody. I did my share of hurt in other ways. And I look at this and I justify my whole life like this. I never hurt somebody who wasn't in my business. Like if you were a drug dealer, or if you were in the mob business, you robbed from us, or you did something like you were a bookmaker trying to, take away from the boss. I did some bad things to people. I laid guys' arms on curbs and snapped them like a piece of wood and the bone coming out the skin. I did some bad things to people I'm not proud of, but I never hurt somebody who wasn't in my business or our business.
Like you kept innocent bystanders.
Yeah, and listen, the jewelry guy, people say, oh, that's bullshit, Larry. You're right. They were a victim. A truck driver was a victim, but he wasn't hurt.
It wasn't a physical victim.
It was, yeah. Don't get me wrong. I do understand there's the aspect of fear and trauma you put into somebody. And I just hope they get over it. Because in life, a lot's going to happen. If you let fucking something like that ruin you for the rest of life, it's not me that's just going to ruin it. It's the next guy that's going to ruin it.
Do you, on that topic...
Or somebody else is going to ruin it.
Do you think the fear that they faced was the same fear you may have faced when you ended up in federal penitentiaries later on? Was it a similar mindset?
I don't know. I don't know what people go through. I know the way I grew up. Everybody has fear in them. It's how you handle your fear, whatever that fear is. But fear is a good thing. It fucking heightens the nerves. It gets you ready to go. It gets your defense mechanisms ready. I like when I'm edgy. I feel sharper. I feel I'm ready to go. I'm ready to do things. I think people shy away from a lot of that and they live a very mundane life. Now, mind you, I'm not telling how people should live. You couldn't do it. You lived on the edge in whatever you did, because that's what hit you, excited you. That's what made you. I hate to say it gave you a fucking hard on, you know?
I mean, that's what it was though. Cause like when I got to prison, like I was still doing shit that like gave me like that rush, you know, like that, like I didn't need money in prison. Like I had my dad and stuff in prison to support me, but like I did shit that got me into trouble and put me in dangerous environments. Cause it was that rush, like the same rush of like sneaking people past the fire marshal at the nightclub. And then like in prison, like trying to smuggle in phones or doing anything like that.
You know, that sounds so mundane to me. Sneaking people past the fire marshal. I'm fucking taking people and throwing them down and tying up 10 fucking people.
Yeah.
And breaking guys' arms. Like, you tell them, I had to sneak people past the fire marshal.
That's what I did.
But you know what, Ian? It's right. Whatever it takes for you to get that. I call it a high. You know, people ask me about drugs, and I've done every drug in the book, but there's no better high I ever had in my life than winning in a jewelry robbery. Like, you know, I used to want to be a fly on the wall. I've done the best drugs in the world. The best I've ever done, I talk about, was in Atlanta when I did 4 hits of acid and floated out of the prison. Literally fucking floated. Who does acid in a prison cell but me?
Yeah.
A lot of us did. But my point is, I literally, Ian, it's that adrenaline rush of robberies that did it for me. It was a rush. When I was in that car, knowing I was away, I wanted to be a fly on that wall so bad. You know, that's how fire people get caught, you know, arsonists.
Yeah.
They're sitting there watching their fire. I wasn't going to do that. One robbery I committed, I used to read the papers afterwards.
To see what people were saying.
One robbery, I robbed a place in Sarasota, and these 2 old people came in. Now, I would never hurt people, I told you. So these 2 old people, I remember the robbery very well. It was next to a dive shop, like you know, not a dive, like a, you know, scuba dive shop, and it was always a somewhat busy place because I like that. That's what was good. So I'm in the store, and these 2 old people walk in, right? They buzz. I buzz them in, and I open up my jacket, and they go, oh, and they were going to get on it. I said, no. Come with me. Just come with me. I put them in a chair. I faced the wall. Didn't tie them up. I never gagged anyone either, Ian, because I was always worried if someone gagged and you suffocated, they could die. So I put these people, I said, face the wall. Didn't tie them up. Didn't do anything. I said, I'll be out of here. Don't worry. Everybody's good. I'm just getting these diamonds. He owes me this or some bullshit. I said, whatever it is. And the lady, I said, now you can't move until I leave for 5 minutes. And they go, okay. In fact, the guy who worked for me at the time, Jimmy, who since died, he fucked up. He goes back, comes back, he screws up. We're going in. I look like fucking the Keystone fucking robbers. I got so mad at him. And I came back in the store. I said, I'm just checking on you. Oh, no, we're not going to move. Well, the next day, and I get away. The next day in the newspaper, they interviewed her, and they go, oh, he was a nice man. I got about $800,000 out of the robbery. But he was a nice man, you know. I never want to hurt people, and I don't. I am very, very protective of young kids and elderly. As you know, I take care of my mother who's 90, or kids. If it's adults, I don't give a fuck what you do, you know. And I say that because, listen, I've been in more fights than I can ever count. Won a lot, lost some. Anybody who says they never lost a fight, you know what I tell them? You didn't fight the right guy. Because everybody loses a fight. When you fight, is my real fighter. So I sit and talk to people, and I said to people is, you know, if you robbed me, you might run into me, you might get a fight. If you beat me, great, you know, but you're going to know you something. That's why I don't like, pick on me. Don't pick on an old lady. Don't pick on a kid, you know, or even weak people. I don't like when people pick on weak people.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not a bully. I never was a bully. I want to help people. I always did. I think that's the underlying where I consider myself a decent guy, wrong or right. And I want to continue that. You know, I never want that not to happen. You know, I see that in you.
Thanks, Larry.
I do. You know, got to know you driving to my death spot over here.
I'm not so bad, huh?
Yeah. You know,
Better
I'm on
than
my
you
way to the
expected.
murder. I'm on the way to get whacked, and usually you know about the guy.
Now, did you ever have any like botched robberies where like you guys are almost caught or it goes wrong?
No, I had a robbery where I stopped it. I was the kind of guy who was such a professional that if it wasn't right, I would call it off. I didn't care how much time it took me or whatever. I was going to rob $12 million out of the Bahia Mall Hotel, not the Bahia Mall, Fountain Blue Hotel in Miami. It was a $12 million robbery. I was going to kidnap the guy and put dynamite on him and keep his family hostage. I was planned to the T. In fact, it was so planned we was in the bushes. And I called it off because a dog was going crazy. And I thought maybe that dog spotted something, or the owner might have spotted something, saw something, and then it would have been a whole different animal. And I called it off. And it goes back, that was a really good move, because looking back, once you did that, that's kidnapping. There's no statute of limitations.
But that's what a professional does. He analyzes that. So you were a professional on that level.
Oh, there's no question I was a professional.
Now, what about your accomplices? Like, were there ever situations where maybe they didn't share your same principles?
No. I ran the shit.
So you were always in charge. There was no
Let me tell you
going around you?
how it was. You know, we'd party. You couldn't even drink or party or anything when I'm doing a robbery. I mean, I had my rules. One time, we were done with a robbery, successful. We're in New York, and these guys brought out some drugs. I tried it. I took the pistol out of my belt. I put a pistol at their head, and I said, if you both come around here again with this, I'll kill you both. And they knew I was for real. And they knew when I said something, I meant it. And I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it. It was a drug. I think it was crack at the time, and something didn't touch me right, whatever you want to call it. And I've done heroin. I've done every drug, from PCP. And I'm not one of these, oh, you do heroin, you're going to be an addict for life. That's bullshit. We have, let me tell you how fucked up America has gotten the drug business. First of all, the drug war with Ronald Reagan was the biggest mistake the country ever made. Second, the United States has been lying to people. First of all, you know what the food pyramid is?
No.
Okay, there's a thing called the food pyramid. It's where you're supposed to eat this much grain.
Oh, you know, we saw that in school, yeah.
Did you know that that's supposed to be upside down? And the Heart Association knew about that since the 1970s.
What, reversed?
Reversed.
Okay.
And the Heart Association knew about it. Secondly, did you know LSD? You know what LSD is?
Yep.
You know what mushrooms are. Do you know they're being used to this day right now as one of the best PTSD remedies in the world?
Really?
Right now, it's being used in the University of Mississippi and a bunch of stuff. And it's legal in some states, first of all, mushrooms. And they're used for PTSD. They gave, and your audience can go look it up. They gave a study. They gave 2 military units LSD. And they gave them the same mission. And the one on LSD did it twice as fast with half the mistakes as the one not on it. The reason the military didn't use it was they couldn't control the people afterwards.
Which is why you said no drugs to your crew.
Right. I mean, I knew I needed to have full control of everything I did. But drugs are a choice, obviously. But everybody, you know, we've been lied to so much by so much. We are all adults, and everybody has to pick and choose what they believe is right and wrong and do their due diligence and research and stuff. Because I do that. You could tell me the greatest thing, and I'm going to research it. But if anybody ever comes to me and says, oh, I don't like drugs, and then they drink, then you got that wrong, because alcohol is the worst drug in the world. And that's been proven time and time again. It causes more damage. It causes more medical issues than anything. You ever see a guy smoke pot and get violent? No. Guy drinks, he gets violent. So, I mean, can you imagine a couple of guys smoking pot wanting to fight? They're going to fight what? They're going to fight over the remote control with the popcorn or for the TV?
They're going to fight over the snacks.
Exactly. I mean, they're not fighting.
Now, with the heist, say you take like 500,000, right? Just say,
Sure.
Put that figure out. How does that get divided up between you and the crew?
Okay. Depending on the job, how much time they did, and stuff like that. First of all, about 10% of all my robberies always went right up to the top.
To the mob? Or?
To the mob, my boss. Boom. Didn't even think about it.
Which isn't that much, 10%.
Well,
I guess there's no risk on their part.
Yeah,
so.
Take 300,000, you get 30,000.
Okay. Easy. Easy money.
Not a fucking thing. But here's what people don't understand. As a mob associate, I needed the mob. Because if I didn't have the mob, then other families, I was associated with the Gambino crime family. If I wasn't associated with them, another family would take me hostage, and trust me, you'd get it. I don't know. I don't know how to say this without being I'm not proud of it, but if you read my book, Gangster Redemption, I tortured a man in it. And I often tell people, I love people who tell me, Larry, I'll never give it up. Trust me, if I want something out of you, Ian, you will fucking give it to me. If I get you in the position I want you to be in. And I will get you in that position, whether it's with a gun to get you there or whatever. I tie you in a chair, take your pants down to your knees, your shirt, and you're naked. And this happened, it's in the book. And I want something. I take an iron. You'll give your mother up. Yeah, I don't give a shit who it is. You're going to give them up. It's just, I tell people, you got me. You get it. I'm not, but just, I'm not going to say it, but don't let me get out, because if I can't catch you, then I win. But I love those guys. Oh, I'll never give it up. Oh, I'll never say. Listen, with the right pressure, right stuff, people are going to say.
So that 10% goes to the mob. How's the other 90?
Well, it goes mostly 50% me.
Okay.
And then I delve out depending on how many people I had with me. Sometimes I had one or two people with me. Sometimes the job was set up by somebody I have to pay off, or tipped off by somebody I had to pay off. The guys were making 50, 80, 100 grand a pop, the guys that were working for me.
Are you ever worried these guys could get pinched on an unrelated job and flip on you?
No.
You had that trust.
Not an unrelated job, because they wouldn't dare do an unrelated job. They could get pinched on something else. Drugs, stupidity, or whatever. No.
But they were just solid guys.
Listen, to this day, nobody ever snitched on me. I was caught by the Major Case Squad from Quantico, Virginia, the best fucking people on the planet. And I love when people think, oh, the FBI is stupid. The FBI is the smartest organization you'll ever fucking run against, and they got all the money in the world.
Unlimited.
And all the time in the world.
So how do you...
and you know that.
How do you get on the FBI's radar then?
Well, I did not know this at the time. Who got me on the FBI's radar is the insurance companies.
From these jewelry stores?
Yeah, I robbed so much. I robbed between 15 and 18 million, probably more.
Dollars worth you made in your career?
Yeah, probably more.
Okay.
But so the insurance companies
are like, who the fuck is this guy?
What the fuck? I had the same MO. These are going on.
Did you have like a signature? I'm curious about that. That you left?
Well, yeah. I mean, no, not a signature that I left, but I did rob a clock.
A clock every time?
Yeah. I don't know what it was. It was like funny, stupid shit. Like it could be not a grandfather clock, of course, something big, but it would be a clock. I actually have one in my office now.
Do you think that was your downfall?
No, okay. no, not at all.
So the FBI never caught up on the clock?
No.
That's funny.
No, what it was is the same MO. And little did I know, Ian, that they were actually flooding an area with agents after I did a job with the same MO. And they were confiscating all the cameras from the Wawa stores, the 7-Elevens. They actually had me on a video buying a cup of coffee at a Wawa store in Savannah, Georgia.
Before the thing
happened. Right, before the robbery. So they placed me at the facility, at the place, and everything. So they knew their shit.
But did they have a name to the face?
No.
Okay.
That's why once they got it.
Now, were your prints in the system, though, with the military?
They were in my system, yes.
Because of the military?
Yes,
right?
but I never left Print.
Oh, you never left Print?
No, and I was arrested since then, too. I mean, I was arrested during that. My rap sheet's pretty bad. I actually
But you never served like real prison time until
not that much time. Right?
Yeah, just ins and outs.
Ins and outs. Bullshit.
Okay.
Now they actually had a palm print of me
From this
of
heist.
jumping a counter, but I didn't know again until they caught me. They couldn't do anything with
But
that.
when you're canvassing these places, you're not wearing gloves when you're going in to talk to the guy.
Never touched the thing.
You're very cautious.
Very cautious.
That's crazy.
In fact, I was so good. One place I didn't know, I put crazy glue
on your
on
fingerprints.
my fingertips.
And that worked.
Oh yeah, because you're filling in all the gaps.
Oh wow.
You know, with this, and you do that.
So
and it's clear. It's weird though too.
So they find you on this camera. What happens next? How does that escalate?
They don't find me on the camera. What do you mean?
Well, like they watch you. They have a face now. They know who you are, but they don't know the name.
No, they never got me on camera.
No, like at the Wawa getting the coffee.
Oh no, that's only after the fact.
Okay. Oh, that was after the
When I was arrested.
Okay.
See, how I was arrested was I did a robbery in Fairless Hills, Pennsylvania. No. You probably know where it is, Pennsylvania.
I know, but it's near here. It's not too far.
It's outside of Philly. It's Pennsylvania. And so I do this robbery, and the guy, unbeknownst to us, there was a robbery of the air conditioning unit on the top of the building 3 weeks before. I don't know this. Well, somebody heard the commotion in the store and went up to the store. And Ian, when they went up to the store, they cupped their hand like this to look in. You know, now I know we're made. And I say, go, go, go. So we run. The fucking guy gets out of cuffs. Now, I have guns. I already took 6 guns of his and put them in my bag. Bam! A shot flies by my head. The window shatters. Holy fuck. We're running out the store. What saved my life, what saved me forever life, we never shot back or anything. So I had a BB gun, remember?
Yeah.
So anyway, I jump in the car, and my partner, my brother, he jumps in the car in the passenger seat. The jewelry's in the back seat. Normally put it in the trunk, but it's in the back seat. Now, when I pulled up to this jewelry store, I'm facing the jewelry store. So the guy runs out of the jewelry store, levels the gun right at my fucking head, shoots it. I duck, he shoots it. It goes through the windshield, dead center, goes through grazes my head, blood comes trickling down, and goes in my brother's back into his arm.
Oh, shit.
And he goes, I'm hit. I get away. We had the getaway is perfect. I mean, very planned, no, and we're getting on the turnpike. We got to get to New Jersey. Now I got to get back to Brooklyn. I have a rent-a-car from Florida, so they don't have the registration on the windshields or anything like New York has or any of that shit.
Yeah.
But anyway, there's a bullet hole dead fucking in the middle of the window. My brother's on the passenger side. I'm hit. I said, I'll drop you off to the hospital. No, get back to the thing. I look in the mirror, and I got a trickle of blood coming down my head. And I go like this. It's just fucking, a graze wound. I'm all right. Fucking blood. Now, I got to go to the first toll. I got a fucking bullet hole right in the middle of the windshield. What do you do?
And there's no easy pass back then either.
No easy pass, right? So what do? I pull up behind a 18-wheeler. The 18-wheeler pulls through. I follow the 18-wheeler and go past the gate, the window. Now the guy, you can see, was oblivious. And on the radio, this is how close, I swear to my children, you hear, be on the lookout for a robbery of a late model, and they just stripped in the car. Guy didn't pay attention one bit. So I knew he didn't, there's not a question he didn't know. I gave him the money. I had the exact change ready because it was all planned.
Yeah.
And I go, and I got on the turnpike, and I get to New York. I get to Brooklyn. Once I'm in Brooklyn, I feel, because I'm in my home. Above Brooklyn, we have 2 apartments, so we bring my brother up there. We patched them up. What are we going to do? I'm cleaned up. We send the car to Brooklyn Auto Glass to get the fucking windshield fixed. It's got $1 million in jewelry.
So you got the jewelry, too?
Yeah, but not as much. So maybe it was I don't know, $750,000. No, it wasn't even that. Maybe $250,000 in shit in the trunk because we had to leave early because we were running. Brooklyn Auto Glasses, this is gangster territory, man. They don't give a shit. They don't look at anything, fix the windshield. That's the end of the deal. My brother, we fix up. We end up, I call a couple of friends of mine in Florida. Now, this is pre 9/11. So you can get on a plane with money and a phony name. Don't mean shit. Go up to the counter, John Smith, blah, blah, blah. Pay the thing. You get on a plane, you go.
Yeah.
Nobody gave a shit. So we go in there and we send my brother back to Florida, and I call a few guys to get the bullet taken out of him. So we can't call, police or anything, a hospital. So my friend sets up a veterinarian to take a fucking bullet out of my brother.
This is a fucking scene out of a movie, Larry.
Oh, it totally is. We don't do that. My mother, who's a nurse, ends up taking care of my brother.
Yeah.
And we tell my mother, hey, Ma, Davey's on his way home. He has a bullet in him, and you got to take care of him. But you can't go to the hospital because I got to wreck it. I had to wreck it. And you can't, I don't want to go to jail. We're playing with guns in the bar. My mother is the sweetest, to this day, is the sweetest, most, I won't say naive, but woman who just, is like, not, you know what I mean? Doesn't want to know shit, maybe.
Yeah.
And she takes care of my brother, but she goes, no, we're leaving the bullet in there. To this day, my brother has a bullet in his arm.
Oh, wow.
To this day, it's in here. Right here.
Did she know what you guys were involved with, too?
Not at that time.
She had no idea?
No.
Okay.
No. She knew it was pretty crazy,
Yeah, but she was better not knowing.
Yeah. Oh, no. I remember once putting $1 million of jewelry on a bed, and my dad used to hide money and shit for me, and I said, what do you think? I go, call Mommy. And my mother walks in. She sees all this jewelry. She goes, oh, my God. Ooh, this is nice.
How hard was it to fence the jewelry, too?
Well, see, that's where my real connection came in.
So you had like a guy that you would bring it to, and
most people get caught with a fence.
Okay.
I could get rid of. Matter of fact, when I was going to do a $12 million job, I called the guys. I said, listen, I got something big. Once I mentioned the store name, it's called H. Stern Jewelers. I said, they knew it. I go, it's about $12 million. They go, gotcha. They go, my end would have been about $4 million, maybe $5 million, depending on what was taken exactly. They go, all right, we'll give you $2 million up front, $1 million, and we'll work it out. I said, because if I did that robbery, the one I told you about, I didn't do, I would have had to leave the country for sure, and I knew that. Just because the heat would have been so heavy, so much, kidnapping, a bomb, the whole. I mean, it would have been a big one.
Yeah.
Not that they all big, but it would have been real big. I mean, I had that one so down pat that I had Molotov cocktails set up that we were going to throw, and we tested them and threw them to an area so the cops would all be diverted to a certain area.
Yeah. So you had all your ducks in a row covered. So your brother gets patched up and stuff. How does this lead to like you guys getting caught?
Well, we don't know it at the time. The FBI floods the area. Now, the newspaper articles on that one, oh, what is a man shooting out in the, they were mad at the owner for shooting because he could have killed somebody else. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, but the FBI came in, they confiscate not only cameras, they interviewed a jeweler that I cased his store beforehand. And he goes, oh, there was a nice man in here. And I was going to sell him a ring. And I got his license plate number.
Which is the rental.
Which is the rental. And the rental wasn't even under me. It was a guy who worked for me who was 350 pounds. Wow. And I'm 200 pounds. But I was the co-driver.
And they're starting to put the pieces together.
Now, once they looked me up, and now they know who I am, and they, oh shit, organized crime background. They knew that already. And because I got stopped going to Atlantic City with $35,000 of cash fell out of my trunk, of my glove compartment. And I had 8 grams of coke. And
that's when you're finally arrested?
No, that was another time.
Okay.
But so
they had their man. You're the target.
Now they went to every one of these jewelry owners. Is this the guy? Oh, yeah, this is the guy.
So they pinned you to all those robbers.
Well, they pinned me. I ended up getting indicted. I had the most indictments out of most prisons I was in. I was indicted in 4 different federal districts. Middle District of Florida, Eastern District of Pennsylvania, Maryland and Southern District of Georgia.
And it's a federal case because you're crossing state
Oh,
lines.
man, it's called Hobbs Act, interfering with interstate commerce, which makes it a RICO.
So when did you get arrested?
I get arrested about 40 to 50 days after the robbery.
And how old are you?
34.
Okay.
I know, listen, when the robbery came and everything happened, I got everything out of my house, made sure nothing's there. I had the kids in the neighborhood on my side. Listen, I built this neighborhood. I was a Robin Hood in the neighborhood. So kids were watching out for vans, anything. And they tipped me off. So my wife ends up, I have a 15-month-old baby at the time. And my wife goes out and she goes to the store. She goes, I think I was followed. I go, what do you mean you followed? Okay. Now, it's a Monday. Now, I lived in a nice area, and there's a cul-de-sac right at the end of the cul-de-sac. And so at the time, things are back to normal. It's 5 o'clock. It's a Monday. I got bookmaking. I was the biggest bookmaker from South Florida, from Fort Lauderdale all the way to Orlando.
While doing the jewelry heist.
Yeah, I had so many businesses. I had vending machine companies, nightclubs.
And that's how you clean the money and stuff.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, you know too much about this, Ian.
Watch a lot of Ozark.
Yeah. How about So anyway, I got guys coming up as a Monday to pick up tickets, to do that kind of stuff and clear the books. And I had I had a neighbor who used to bring me hot lobsters. You know,
hot lobsters.
You know, like stolen lobster,
yeah.
Beautiful lobster tails, and I'd fucking be cooking steak and Delmonico steaks and lobsters every fucking 5 days a week. I mean, it was crazy. I had a cook that was a fucking corrupt guy.
And you have a nice house too, I'm guessing.
Yeah, all that kind of stuff.
Does your wife know who you are?
She knows some.
But not to the extent.
Totally no, but she knows enough.
So what
She's
happens
young. My wife is my second wife, I was 31. She was 19 when I met her.
19?
Yeah, she was 12 years younger than me.
Oh, wow.
You know, the hot little hottie there and all that shit. So I end up, it's a Monday, and now I have a 15-month-old baby, my daughter. My son's 6, he's 7. He's in New York with my first wife. And she goes to the mailbox at the end of the cul-de-sac and scream. I hear. Now, at that time, you'll love this. This is 1996. I have a computer. What the fuck was a computer back then? I spent $5,000 for a modem and all this crazy shit. You wouldn't even know what it is.
Yeah.
And I end up saying, I hear, they're coming. And I jump out of my seat and I turn around, go towards the back of my house, and the fucking ninja guys are coming around the fucking jacuzzi and the shit, and the fucking through the patio. The fucking door flies open. The ninja people, there's a helicopter over my fucking house. And they get me. And it was funny because they didn't even tell the police, in the local police, because I had them on the hook.
Don't they need
I'm the godfather to the mayor's kid.
Wow. I thought they needed to have local police when the feds are doing
Hell no,
a
they
raid.
who owned the fucking local police.
Wow.
Literally.
So they drag you out in handcuffs.
They get me out and put me on the curb. They weren't bad. Listen, the FBI and who caught me is the FBI and marshals and shit.
Pleasant people.
What I got to say is they were professionals.
Yeah.
They didn't try to do anything bad to me. They didn't. In fact, I had about $3 or $4 in my pocket. They let me give it to my wife. They let me give it the Rolex to the wife. I got great sneakers. I know I'm going to jail to fight. So here's my sneakers. Get my rich shitty sneakers. Man, I know the game. And I've been in Rikers. I've been in a Dade County jail. I know the game.
Yeah.
So they let me do all that.
But you don't know what you're pinched for at this point.
Oh, I know. Yes.
You know it. Oh, okay.
I mean.
You know that they had hard evidence.
In fact, let me tell you how good the FBI is. They had a warrant for excess of cash, jewelry, paraphernalia, scales, and stuff like that. I had a 9-foot oak bar, right, in my living room. And when you come in, you go to the living room, I had probably 3 8-balls of coke there, weed, bookmate. They didn't give a fuck, left it there, didn't take it, didn't even call anybody, didn't give a shit. They got me. That's what they came for.
And that's it, yeah.
And listen, the FBI, I will to this day, they know their fucking shit. Anybody comes to me and says, oh, the FBI is stupid. Are you fucking an idiot? They just don't want you yet.
They build their, I mean, like with me, when I got arrested, they didn't search my house. They didn't search my
had
office.
it already.
Yeah, they had all the info. There's nothing else to do. When
Ian,
you see them doing like those stage things, pulling out the boxes and stuff, like that's all. A
you
lot
know,
of it's
Ian,
like the show.
it's funny when you get a dude who comes up to you and goes, "Yeah, the FBI, they raided my house," and they come home and they go, "Yeah, but they didn't have enough evidence." I go, "You're ratting." Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah.
If the FBI or DEA comes into your house and arrests you, their case is built. It ain't no fucking, oh, we're hoping to find something.
They don't arrest you for the hell of it.
They don't do that, man.
Yeah.
They don't waste money. And you'll hear many guys, oh, okay. All right. Okay. Because then I know.
And a lot of the times they already have you. They want to just leave you out there to entrap other people.
Fucking right. They know what they're doing.
Are you the only one that gets arrested out of your crew?
I am the only one ever indicted on my crew out of a RICO Act.
And so no one else goes down with you
Nobody ever. 6 years later, my brother gets arrested.
for the same thing?
Well, for these crimes, because his ex-wife told on him.
Oh, my God. Don't get married.
That's a great line.
Don't get married.
He's right, Nick. You can laugh on that one.
Oh, everyone's taking notes in here. Right
Yeah,
now.
don't get married. You hear that?
So, I'm guessing they don't give you bond. No bail.
Well, you know, it's a funny story about bond. I've appeared in court before. I'm not a virgin with the system. So we go in front of the court, and this is why I often tell, as a guy who's got his law degree now, I tell people, don't ever give up your bond hearing. Here's what happened. So we go to bond hearing, and my lawyer sits up and says, Your Honor, there's only two reasons a person doesn't get bond. If you're a flight risk or you're a threat to the community. It's the only two reasons. Sure enough, my lawyer gets up and says, Your Honor, I represented Mr. Lawton in New Jersey on a case with drugs. He flew back and forth. This man is not a flight risk.
This is a paid attorney.
Yeah.
Okay.
He's not a flight risk. And this is a federal judge now. This is all big shit. It's a whole different animal.
Different ball game than the state.
You ain't talking about people. You're talking people who could arrest the president. They don't give a fuck. So the judge is going, yeah, and he goes, and they're saying violence, but this, the fucking feds freak. She goes, well, I have to. The U.S. attorneys, Your Honor, this man is involved with the Gambino crime family. We have more evidence. He's going to be indicted in 4 more cases. Oh, fuck. I went back in the seat. And
So you thought you had a chance there to make it out.
Because if I was getting bonded in,
You're done?
I'm gone. I'm flying.
Do they seize your assets at all or no?
No, they didn't. No. Yes, they did.
They did. They took everything.
Yeah, well, they seized. When they take, they don't take it physically.
They
You
just
can't,
seize it,
you can't liquidate. You can't do certain things.
Yeah. So you don't get bond. What's going on next?
Well, I don't get bond right
Yeah.
now. Fuck, because if I got bond, I'm flying. I'm jumping. I'm jumping. I don't give a fuck. I'm jumping bond, man. I know it because I knew it would have come. But they knew. That's how I knew how much they had. And I end up getting kidnapped. I say kidnapped because the feds come get me at 3 a.m. I'm at Miami. I'm in Miami. It's called the FDC, Federal Detention Center in
that they
downtown.
have in like every state. Yeah.
Yeah, downtown Miami. And 1 a.m, they fucking they take me, get on a plane. They gave me diesel therapy.
You went on Con Air?
Oh, I've been on Con Air 16 times.
Great trip, man.
16 in black boxes.
Yeah.
They didn't play with me. So, because, 1, I had a bad record.
Yeah.
2, I'm in penitentiaries. It's a different animal. I used to want to look at it. I remember they used to put us because we had black box in front of the girls, the back right behind the girls, and in front of. You ever been on Con Air?
Yeah. I tell that story all the time. One trip, they put me through diesel therapy. I went from New Jersey to Philly to Danbury to Brooklyn
To Oklahoma.
to Oklahoma to Chicago, then to Wisconsin. It was the worst trip ever. Oklahoma sucks.
I've been in Oklahoma so many times. I was there with the Indian was there. You weren't there. There was an Indian guard there. He'd rape you out of the fucking goddamn fucking take you out of that fucking line. When you get off the plane and you line up the whole wall. He took a motherfucker. This guy was about 6'6", 300, fucking big Indian guard from Oklahoma. They call him Chief. And motherfucker was badass motherfucker. But I've been in Oklahoma so many times.
So what was the final charge that you were charged with?
I was charged with racketeering.
It was 1 count or there's
No. Hobbs Act robbery, 4 counts. 4 counts of Hobbs Act robbery, racketeering. 4 counts of interfering with interstate commerce under the Hobbs Act, right? 4 counts with armed robbery.
And how much time
5.
are you facing?
Well, I was facing life in prison.
And your lawyer tells you this.
Yeah.
Is he trying to get you to make a deal? Like throw people
My
under?
lawyer fucked me. I ended up fucking wanting to kill him. My lawyer, so you know why they call lawyers sharks?
Let's hear this one.
Because they feed off the weak. They feed off people who are in trouble. So true. I get a phone call. I don't get a phone call. I call home from the jail. Now I am in 6th and Market, but now they hold you at Farrington, New Jersey, or Schuylkill, Pennsylvania is where they hold you when you're down here, back in those days. And I call my wife at the time. She's young. She's 20, whatever. And she had a baby. And she's crying, oh, my God, I'm never going to see you. What the fuck are you talking about? She goes, Keith called me, said he needs another $100,000 or $50,000. I think I gave him $50,000 to start. Another $50,000.
This is the lawyer.
Yeah, because you're never getting out because you're facing life and it's in the newspapers because it came out in the newspapers, all this shit. Organized crime involved in jewelry and all that kind of shit.
They had to make it look sexy.
Oh, of course they did. So fucking she's crying. I go, he said what? Meaning, I'm going to kill this motherfucker. How do you call my wife and ask for more money? I already gave you $50,000. You did nothing but one fucking bail hearing, motherfucker. You need another $50,000 before fucking thing blink. You call my wife? I get a fucking counselor call. And I'm in the counselors. You know about counselors. So I go in the counselor, and I don't give a shit. You motherfucker, I'm going to kill you if I get out of here. You better give her fucking money. Give her $40,000 back. If you fuck up. The counselor's looking at me. I don't give a shit. You know, I'm fucking done. You know, I don't care. Now, this is not recorded, obviously, because it's the counselor's phone.
Yeah.
And I end up fucking firing him. I don't know what to do. Luckily, my mob connections, I get a fucking visit.
Oh, this is a classic movie scene right now.
Yeah, I get a visit. I'm thinking, oh, fuck. Because, you know, if you get a visit, you don't know who it is. Uh-oh, it's Fed, something else, something. That's when I got indicted again. That was another one. But anyway, I get a visit. Okay. Hey, Larry, it's a lawyer visit, too. So, what the fuck? I didn't hire no lawyer. I don't know what to do. This is not even a week later. I'm still fucking mad. And because I called, and they couldn't represent me because they couldn't bring a lawyer in because they didn't want to be involved in what was going on, which I get. So a guy goes, he comes in and, how you doing, Larry? He says to me, you know, like this, and he goes, I was sent here by some friends of yours. You know, I knew right away what was there. I said, yeah. He goes, I'm thinking, okay. He goes, and I looked through your case. He goes, I can't represent you. He goes, and I'm going to give you some suggestions. He goes, I think you're all right. He goes, you're going to do a lot of time. He goes, but you're not going to do life. You're not going to do it. What do you mean? He goes, yeah. He goes, you know, first of all, he goes, you didn't have a gun. And I go, what? He goes, you didn't have a gun? I mean, you used a BB gun. What? Oh. Yeah, I used a BB gun. What fucking BB gun?
Yeah.
The feds never found a gun on me. I never shot a gun.
So how'd they know?
Bingo. I didn't know this. Because the big time on my case was the 924C,
Yeah.
which is a gun charge. So being that I fucking didn't have a gun, they have to drop the 924C. So we went to a preliminary hearing. Now I get a lawyer, a public defender. And I know more about the law because I went into the law library. This is when I started my law career. Ian, like I said, just like with YouTube or anything, I don't quit. I fucking live
You were
and
finding a way
breathe
out, yeah.
924C.
That's what happens when you're facing life in prison, too.
You live and breathe. I tell people, whoever ever goes to prison and doesn't do their own case the right way, then they're idiots.
There's guys that they're drooling over it. They're studying it. You know?
I was it.
But it's fight or die.
It's
You gotta
fight or
survive.
die.
You got to survive.
It's just, but there's other guys, I got a good paid attorney, and he's getting life.
Yeah.
Because that attorney will give a fuck about you.
No, the only one that's got your back is you.
100%.
So it brings a whole new level of like passion to your case. So what happens?
I knew more about to this day. I probably know more about 924C than any man alive.
Now you got that dropped, and now you're facing.
Well, we go to a hearing, and the lawyer said, "Oh, I'm gonna get the shut up." I literally told somebody, "Shut the fuck up. I'm gonna fight this 924C. I don't give a shit. You tell them we're going to trial. Wherever we're going to trial. We are going to trial. Period. I will take them to court in every federal district they have. Every federal district
over the 924C."
They end up agreeing to drop the 924C if I take a plea for fucking the robberies, which is 4 robberies. There's no more. They knew about 18 others, but 90% they were sure of. I said, yeah, I did those. Fuck it. I don't give a shit. You explain how I did them. Nobody else. But they wanted John Rodriguez. So that's where I ended up getting indicted again because there's no John Rodriguez.
Who's John Rodriguez?
My brother.
So they want
John Rodriguez,
which is their alleged accomplice or whatever.
My alleged accomplice. That's how I got caught with it. That's how I got a RICO act because it has to be 2 or more.
Oh, so one of the jewelers said there was a guy named John Rodriguez.
No, he didn't know. I said, "Who's your partner?" John Rodriguez.
Oh, you just came up with a name. You take a plea deal. Well, what's the plea deal for?
The plea is for 4 12-year sentences. To run concurrently.
Together.
Yeah, concurrently. See, it's called running concurrent or called running wild or running consecutive. When it runs wild, which is consecutive, then it's you do 12, done, do another 12, done. So you're really getting 48. But when they run them concurrently, that means they're all running together. A lot of people ask me, why do they give a person multiple 12 years? You're doing 12. Well, I often say, listen, do you ever hear him say this guy's got 3 life sentences? And they go, yeah. You can't die 3 times, but if you win one of the cases on appeal, you still got to do life because you got the next life. Then you got to win the next one.
The feds bulletproof it.
Yeah, they sure do.
Now, was there...
The feds, that's a good word. They bulletproof
When you sign that deal, though, is there a chance that you could get more than that amount of time? Or
I could have pulled my plea then.
Okay.
Yeah. No, you obviously understanding the law, you could pull your plea. And that's the only reason you would sign it. You wouldn't sign it in the mercy of the court, they call it.
So if the judge...
Now, you know as well as I do, Ian, federal judges just do anything the fuck they want to do.
Oh, yeah. A lot of them, though, are pretty consistent with the plea deal for the most part.
Mostly, yeah.
Unless you're signing like an open plea or it's different in like
an open plea or he doesn't like you.
Yeah.
And I've seen that.
Now, did your service hours with the military play into effect at all with the judge?
I don't think so.
Do you speak at your sentencing hearing at all?
Yes, just, I'm sorry kind of deal.
Did you mean it, though, or?
No.
Like, what?
That's a good question.
What?
No, I mean, what do you mean?
No, what's your mindset?
I'm sorry I got caught.
Yeah, you're in federal court, you're getting sentenced you to 12 years in prison. What's your mindset? Like, what are you thinking at this time?
Good point. That's a great question, Ian. Understanding prison. See, I'm not a rookie to prison. I was on Rikers Island. I know shit.
But you're a rookie to federal prison.
Yeah, rookie to the big boys. And anybody, I get a big kick out of this line. Oh, I'd rather be in the feds than the state. No, you won't. Not at max, anyway.
At a camp, yes.
Yeah, camp, absolutely. I've never been to a camp. I'll ask you about a camp when you're on my show.
Sounds good.
In the real prisons, no, because here's why. First of all, in maximum security prisons in the feds, and I'm talking Atlanta, at that time, Lewisburg, Atlanta, Leavenworth, Lompoc, they are so bad. First of all, your money don't help. I was in prison with Nicky Scarfo, Vic Arena, mob bosses, hitmen. Everybody who's in the penitentiary in the feds is either a killer, able to kill, or a different level criminal. They have money, but their money don't mean anything in prison. See, in state prison, if you go to a maximum security prison, money means a lot because you might know somebody, there's connections, there's a whole different animal in the state compared to feds. Feds do not give a fuck who you are. From helicopter wire over to prisons to get out. I mean, they cover their fucking asses. So when you compare a federal prison, in fact, if you look up on even Google, worst prison in the United States, worst prison in the world, do you know what prison comes right up on that?
What, ADX?
ADX.
Yeah.
And I know people have been there. And then, back when I was in Atlanta, it was...
That's the first federal prison you went to.
Well, I went to Lewisburg first and then Atlanta. And Lewisburg, all short time. When I went to Atlanta, the guard said, "Who did you piss off? You're going to Atlanta."
That's like the worst.
At the time, it was the worst prison in the country. In fact, they brought what they call a troubleshooting warden. They had a guy named Willie Scott, who was a warden that used to go to prisons, and he had authority over the region. He worked directly for the Bureau P director. He would walk into the prison. I was in Atlanta, and he was in Atlanta. We had a murder a month for 18 months. A murder. Not talking about fucking overdoses, suicides, and shit. A murder. Willie Scott was a big black guy, man. Willie Scott, Warren Scott. I'm new in the prison. Now, I went there and I suitcased, which means put a note up my ass for a mob boss from a prison I was in beforehand. From Farrington, New Jersey. I had a note. I never opened it, never did anything.
Wait, so you just took this note and shoved it up your ass?
Well, yes, you put it in cellophane and all that.
And it doesn't come out during the squat and cough.
Fuck no. I love that fucking bullshit.
All right, so
I fucking had more knives up my ass and fucking messages and drugs. Your ass got 7 extra inches in it to hold anything the fuck it wants.
But it took you going to prison to realize this one.
Hell yeah, I didn't know beforehand.
So you take this
I wish I did. No.
You take this note to him, what happens?
Well, I get on the yard into Atlanta. So now, first of all, I have to go to Captain's Review. The penitentiary, you go to Captain's Review. First of all, they left me in a hole for 3 weeks, just a fucking rats, mice. It was a fucking worst place. If you've been to Atlanta holdover.
No, I've never been to Atlanta.
You heard about Atlanta holdover.
I've heard over Atlanta, yeah.
You don't want to go there, period. You probably heard that too. It is to this. I mean, first of all, I don't know if anybody heard this year. In the beginning of the year, they had a Senate inquiry about it. You know, they closed it.
Yeah, they closed down the camp too, right? Or
the whole prison.
Yeah.
They shut it, and they called it a threat to the southeast of the United States. Not Georgia, not Atlanta, the city, not Georgia, to the southeast of the United States.
Yeah, I heard about the corruption with the guards, everything.
Listen, that was so bad when we were there. And anyway, so I go to Atlanta, and I go to I'm in the hole, and I mean, we want to talk a fucked up place. So, I mean, from the hole to everything, from rodents to fucking, it's really that bad. It is third world country shit. So I end up fucking getting on the yard. I have this note for the last 2 months, you know what I mean?
Sitting up your ass.
Well, out, right? So you clean. You just had to use the bathroom and shit. So I got a note. I end up taking the note, clean it up, give it a bump, don't give it, you know what I mean? I give him the note, and I said, "Hey, anybody know where Vic Arena is?" Vic Arena was a mob boss who was with the Colombos in the war with the Persicos when they had 12 people killed during that thing in the night. I remember that on the streets. I remember that, of course. I wasn't involved with that family, but I know the whole shit. So I had a note from another dude who I hung out with, says, "Just give this note to Vic." And he sealed it, and when you seal it, you don't look at it, because you could tell if somebody looked at any note. So you don't do that. I give him the note. They go, "Oh, yeah, Vic Arena, he's on the yard at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, blah, blah, blah." You go out there. And when you're in the hole, you ever been in a hole?
Yeah, I did 6 months.
Okay, when you're in the hole, you come out white as a fucking white, you could tell. First of all, you even walk the yard, you ache, you pain, you understand it. So I go into the fucking yard. I asked for Vic Arena, he's sitting on the benches. I gave him the note. I said, "Hey, this is from the guy I was with." And I leave. And I said, "Thank you." He goes, "Okay." So I leave. That was the end of that. I'm hurt. And next move, because, penitentiary's all moves. I go up and I go in and I go to unit. I'm laying down. I get a guy comes to my cell and goes, "Hey, Larry." "Yeah." He didn't know who I was, but he's Larry. Yeah. He goes, I'm like fucking still in shock in this fucking place. He goes, "Hey, Vic Arena wants to see you on the yard today at 6 o'clock. After dinner." Okay. And I didn't know where, but where he was at. That's what I assumed. So sure enough, I go to eat. Now, you got to remember, I'm just coming from the fucking shoot. Fucking got nothing. I got the Bobo fucking sneakers. Got the fucking, those fucking things.
The Vans.
Whatever the fuck they call them. And I go on the yard. I go out after eat. I go in the yard. I go see Vic. You sit down. He goes, you're all right. He goes, let me give it. And he had a bag of commissary. Fucking sneakers, shorts, cups, bowls. You know how it works in fucking prison. I mean, I got a bag of fucking commissary. The whole works.
Because those are your people.
Vic got this whole bag for me.
Now, do they check you at that point to say, hey, you have like X amount of days to prove your paperwork? Or they
No, he checked me.
Oh, so
he made phone calls, whatever he did.
And so you were good.
I'm with them.
So do you think your prison experience was different because of your mob ties?
Absolutely. We're going to talk about that on my show. But
yeah,
yes.
Because like someone like me, and I will get to it on your show, but like someone like me does not go to a penitentiary and have that same experience. It's like totally different.
You ever been to a penitentiary?
No, the highest I've been is a low security prison.
Totally, it's a different animal, obviously. You knew that.
But even guys that aren't well known, like I've had guys on the shows that have been in pens, like the two brothers, they went through the whole paperwork process because no one knows who they are.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was the dude who pulled the paperwork.
So you're running with the...
I pulled paperwork. So that's what I did.
You're running with the Italian car then?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I am... listen, and I got sick of that because there's politics involved.
Yeah.
When I say politics...
what are like prison politics?
I got sick of it because there's different mob families. Again, if you're New York, Columbus, Gambinos, Lucchese's, Genovese's, all these guys, Bonanno family, the 5 families. And there'd be guys from here and say, don't talk to him. Don't talk. I don't give a fuck. I'm an associate. I'm not, you know what I mean? I'm a fucking guy who's strong, healthy young kid. I did my thing. And fucking, it kind of reminded me of Goodfellas because I do remember that in that movie. And, you do your thing, and you're partying, you're drinking, you fucking got you guys in your unit, you
Do they put you to work in prison like the Italians? Are you like their muscle?
No. They take care of you.
Yeah.
Meaning, like, I got a job in the kitchen. If you ever notice all the mob places, the mobsters all get jobs in the kitchen. And we do nothing in the kitchen, but
they want their meats.
No, we fill napkin holders. That was our job. And when we fill napkin holders, we fucking get whatever we want from the kitchen and this, and we hang around, tell stories. It was just what we did. You know what I mean? So, I ended up getting a job in the kitchen, in Atlanta. And
from what I've seen, like with the Italians, they always eat the best on the compound.
Of course we did.
Now, what kind of meals are you guys like eating with your connections and the money and everything?
Again, we all had money. Even I had money. We had money. So we ate as much off the commissary and off what we stole and bought from people out of the kitchen than anybody, obviously. And we would get together. It's not like Goodfellas where they had the bottle of wine, sit down, he's in his bathroom. That's bullshit. But it was where I used to cook. When I went down, I ended up when my points go low from Atlanta, I go to Coleman. So they said I was trying to run the yard on Coleman. So they kicked me off that yard. And they sent me to Jessup, which is the best place I've ever been. And that place I ended up attacking a unit manager and ended up going back to the penitentiary.
Yeah, I got to hear, you were telling me about that in the car. I got to hear this case manager story.
But she's a fucking cunt. Anyway, we're still in Atlanta. So, the guys in Atlanta was such a violent penitentiary place. You don't go from that place to go to another place and just think things are normal. And even the guards and the people knew it. You don't survive Atlanta unless you're smart. Oh, obviously, people think, this your brawn. I was a fighter and all. But it's this that gets you to Atlanta. People don't understand. I could feel tension. You understand what I mean? I can literally feel tension. If I was on that yard, I knew by looking at people's feet, what are they wearing? They're wearing flip-flops. Nobody's waiting for something to kick off. When you see a guy take a couple of magazines and put them in between their stomach, he's waiting for fucking get a war. When you see a guy put fucking shoes on, everybody's wearing fucking boots and fucking sneakers. Something's not right. You can feel tension. You can know when it's coming. You know it. You know the people. You're watching the way they're looking at someone else, the way they're they're just keeping an eye on their back or they're sick, you know. So there's just things you become such aware of in a penitentiary. And sure enough, every time it happened to me, it paid off. I mean, because I seen something happen.
What was the most violent thing you saw in a penitentiary?
Wow. I was in my cell. It's a good story. I was in my cell, and they had 8 o'clock count came, 8 o'clock recall. So everybody comes off the yard. I was in Atlanta, and I hear screaming. All of a sudden, it's about 9 o'clock, and we hear, ah! I mean, fucking like a man screaming for his fucking life. Now, we can't get to the next tier to help him. Now, we know who it is. We know the person. And the guard's screaming, lockdown, lockdown. Everybody's locking down. You know, the first thing you do in a penitentiary is you grab ice or you grab batteries from a store guy or whatever the fuck you got to do. You got to make sure. Because you never know in lockdowns how long they're going to be. So you grab what you can grab and fucking go in our cell. Nothing happens. They don't let us out after 9. Normally from 9 to 9:15 they'd count and they'd let out for 9:15 to 10 o'clock. They don't let us out. Oh, fuck. Next morning, the doors crack. As I tell everybody, when I was in prison, I never, ever, ever slept past 6 o'clock in the morning. I would get up and have my boots or shoes on and ready to go. Because I don't know who I pissed off. Because I watched the guy lay in his bunk, sleep, and get killed. So I'm fucking like, you know, oh shit. Okay, 6 o'clock, I get up in the morning. We all go down, wait for the units to be called for chow. Now, a guy comes from the medical unit, and he comes into the unit, and he goes, man, you guys got to listen. You got to see this. And he comes back with the medical report. Now, we knew the cell where the guy happened, and we saw crime scene tape.
In the prison, wow.
In the prison, across the cell door. And it said in there, inmate, his name's Shane, inmate Shane's last name, I don't forget it, inmate Shane's anus was cut with a sharp object from the top of his anus to his scrotum, and seminal fluid was found.
Holy shit.
2 guys took this kid, and I have a picture of him, and cut his ass with a razor blade from the ass till his scrotum and fucked him.
And why'd they do this?
Now, obviously, you know, I talk about that at classes I give. We all know rape is not a crime of sex. It's not a crime, you know, get a hard on for rape. Rape is a crime of violence, power. You know, that's all it is. Obviously, these 2 guys, multiple life sentences, they're done. They don't give a fuck. They took this kid and they cut his anus from his ass to his fucking scrotum, and they fucked him, and seminal fluid was found. Now, he didn't die, because in the penitentiary, you always know when someone dies because they recount. There'll be another count. Always. If he fucking, no matter what he dies, it's going to be another count.
Because the numbers have to add up to what they currently have.
Exactly. Count numbers are the biggest thing in prison. So they fucking count, and they didn't count. He didn't die, and I'm sure he was transferred. And to this day, you know, it's sometimes, Ian, when I touch between, you know, under my balls, I don't mean that to be sick. I feel fuck. I mean, it'll click a memory in me. Imagine.
Yeah, how does that sit with you mentally? Like looking back on it.
You know, I'll tell you the truth. I had a girl for a long time, and she used to say I used to fucking have phone nightmares. You know, like, I don't know, nightmares. I would scream, or you know, some shit would happen, and I get it. Yeah, I'm sure I did. You know, listen, that one hurt because he was a young kid, 22 years old. You know, and you know, either that one. I lost my cellie. He got killed for $5 for a book of stamps, and he was misclassified, and that one hurts to this day. That hurts. He was a young kid. He was 24 years old. He used to visit. His wife would visit with my wife at the time, and we'd go visit in Edgefield. This is another bad penitentiary. Kid had a drug charge, bullshit drug charge. He was totally misclassified. We used to try to go to the counselor's office. What the fuck's this kid doing here? You know, he had 6 months left, though, at the time. He had 6 months. He had a 3-year sentence. I don't know who he pissed off, whatever. This kid was a good kid. And matter of fact, I have a tattoo on my leg. I'll show you. I won't fix it because we used to do tattoos in our cell. And we got fucked up. We were smoking weed, fucked up. And he fucked up the tattoo bad. I mean, because he's learning. He put a stencil. You know how stencils go with the pen and all that.
Yeah.
He put it on it, and he's smushing it. And he's doing it. And we're fucked up. He can't fit. There's no fucking stencil anymore. What are we going to do? And I have that on my leg right now, and I won't fix it. He ended up becoming a good tattoo dude, too. He was a very good kid. He was from Alabama. We called him Bama. Young kid. And he ended up getting killed. I was on the yard when he got killed. And
this happened in your cell?
No, it happened in the unit, but I was on the yard when it happened.
Would you have stopped to...
Oh, fucking, yeah. People knew. Listen, I'm at this point, been in prison for a while. 6, 7, 8 years. You know, my reputation is good. Fucking convict, all that kind of stuff. I celled with him. I mean, no, they wouldn't have did it if I was around. If I was there, it wouldn't have happened. There's no question. He owed a kid $5. $5 is a book of stamps, if you remember. I don't know if it was when you were in.
It was $10, yeah. A book of stamps was $10 because it was
Wait a minute. A fucking book of stamps was how much?
$10. 10 mackerels, $10, yeah. That's what the street price was. So you buy it on the commissary for 10, it sold for 10.
That's what a book of stamps is now?
Yeah, $10. I think it's probably more now. This is 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
When I was in, a stamp was 30 cents, or 29 cents, 30 cents. So one book of stamps, no matter what it was $5.
So they killed this kid over $5.
$5.
Why couldn't he just ask you for the money?
Coulda did a lot of things. We're in a penitentiary.
Yeah.
Remember.
Who kills him? Like what car?
Oh, it was a black guy. I don't know what car was in the. They were gone. It was gone. Nobody authorized it, if you want to call it that, or so.
Isn't it courtesy to come to the cellmate though? Or?
Normally, not even the cellmate. Normally, you go to the crew. Like if you were with us and Ian owed money, let's say you owed money to the fucking Latin Kings. The Latin King would come to us, or who our shot caller is, and say, "Listen, Ian owes us fucking $50 or $100 for heroin, whatever," and we would pay that and beat your fucking ass silly and stick fucking $200 of fucking heroin up your ass. You'd go to the hole, you know the deal, and you'd sell that heroin and come back and you're good. Oh, he's back. He fucked up.
Yeah.
Exactly what happened all the time.
But some guys don't learn. They keep getting their ass beat.
and that is true. It just, they're an addict. They're a dead addict.
What do you think was like the most surprising thing you learned about prison?
Surprising? I don't know. Surprise.
I don't know. Do you think it's like this, how the system is in general? Like with the fact that kid was in that penitentiary to begin with?
Okay, I get where you're going.
Like what shocked you? What was like a wow
maybe
factor?
A shock. I always knew the government didn't give a fuck. I didn't. I didn't know to the degree of how the system in itself is corrupt. Meaning, I was wanted when they fucked with me, and I was beaten and tortured. Strapped down naked.
In prison.
Strapped down naked. All documented by FBI. It's in my book.
Who beat you up?
The guards.
Why'd the guards beat you up?
Because I was writing against the deaths of people in prison. People who died. I ended up... See, I learned the system the right way. I was really good at the law. Got a degree and everything else. And I became an expert with the CFR, Code of Federal Regulations. I end up fucking with the prison, and they don't like that. I actually had I fucking hate this prick to this day. Warden LaManna. John LaManna. What a scumbag. This fucker I had the head of OSHA come to my cell in the hole and say, Lawton, keep fucking making waves. The warden is fucking going crazy. He's talking about you in meetings. Who fucking warden talks about out of fucking 2,000 inmates? He's talking about you. He hated me, Warden LaManna. What a prick. He ends up going, I find this out later, he ends up working for the private prison systems. Of course he does. He's a scumbag. Anyway, he hated me, and I was exposing the deaths of people in prison. 3 of my friends were killed in prison by lack of medical care, everything else that goes along with that. They let one guy bleed to death so bad in his cell. A murderer in his cell said it looked like a pig was fucking stuck. It looked like he fucking slaughtered a pig. That's how bad the cell was in his fucking unit. They let him bleed to death in his fucking cell. Guy with cancer, you know. They just don't give a fuck. You know that.
Yeah.
And so I think the shock of the system is I did not know how heartless. I knew some would be heartless. I knew people could be fucking vicious. The system itself as a whole is literally, and I just did something on my channel about this, is the worst prison system in the free world. There's no question about that. We are worse than Spain, Italy, France, Germany, Mexico, Canada. You can go on and on and on, every non-third world country.
Well, you're forced to become like animals in a sense, too. You have to, it turns good people that may have made a simple mistake into something that they never thought they would become.
It's the best way of explaining. You know yourself, and you were in Lowe's.
And I've seen like some of the stuff like I had to change or alter that went against my values or stuff only because I was in that position, this dangerous position, and you have to do shit to survive. And people can comment on that from the outside as much as they want, but until you're in that position, you see yourself face down that. Like there are guys walking around at a low security prison. I'm there for fucking fraud for a 3-year sentence, non-violent, and there's guys walking around with rods this big.
Oh, sure.
Steel rods. Nothing.
Swords, we call them.
Yeah, they're coming down from the mediums and the higher security prisons.
Yeah. You know, it's funny. You know, I was in the penitentiaries, and when I was in Atlanta, I used to talk to a guard, and he goes, I go, man, what's it like in that fucking camp over there? He goes, Lawton, he goes, you wouldn't make it 10 minutes in that fucking place. What do you mean? He goes, you'll leave, or you'll kill somebody. He goes, the respect is not there, the angle is not there. He goes, but there's guys down there that will still do. I often tell people this. I don't care what level prison you're in. Prison is prison. What prison people don't get, yes, I was in violent prisons. But whether you're in a camp, low, medium, or high, when they take away your freedom and tell you what to do and how to do it, is what prison's about. Because you're a human being, you're an adult, you're fucking they're told when to fucking shut your lights out. You talk down to like a scumbag. I don't care what level. I'm sure camps too. And yes, you'd like the little freedom. I mean, if you consider that freedom, you fucking missed the boat too. You know, a lot of people, I'd love to. Yeah, to a guy who's got a life sentence, you put him in a camp, he feels like he fucking in Disneyland.
Yeah.
But even the guys who, listen, even with the penitentiaries I was in, we would, you adapt. I hate to say it. But I don't like the fact that people think, prison is prison. People got to get that. Prison is prison. And the United States is just zero rehabilitation. You know, it's funny. I ended up being one of the only ex-cons who ever went back to his own prison and spoke. I spoke at Coleman. And at the release class, it was funny because I kept giving shit out. I didn't give a shit. They told me what I can't do. Fuck you. I did it. And then, I know the game. And they still, and this is maybe I spoke there 4 years ago. 2017. Matter of fact, I just showed a guy who was on my show. I showed him the certificate. They gave me this BOP certificate for speaking and shit. It was 2017, so that's 6 years ago almost. And things haven't changed. I got out of prison in 2007. I went in 2009. You'd think things would change? Not much. And that's why I really think the people who watch this show are going to love when I talk to you about going to prison in 2016 compared to 1996.
Yeah.
We're going to have such a contrast. And just tell me about $10 book of fucking stamps. Jesus Christ.
Now, what year do you finally get out, and how much time do you serve?
I ended up doing my 12 years, 11 and a half years.
On 12? That's not, shouldn't it be less, or you lost
I lost a lot of good time.
You lost all your good time.
Yeah, okay. A lot of good time. I got a couple of days.
So you're maxed out. What year is this?
I go out in 2007.
2007, how old are you?
I am 46 years old.
Are you thinking, like, I'm going to get back to being the jewel thief again?
No.
What's the mindset?
My mindset when I got out. Now, you got to remember, I ended up getting my paralegal degree. I had a lot of credits from college. got my paralegal degree. I was going to work in the law field of some sort. Writing briefs, doing something like that. And I got out of prison in 2007. I did not want to go back. Nobody gets out of prison ever and says, I liked it there. I think I'm going to go back. You know what people say? I'll kill a cop before I go back. I'll die before I go back. And I get it. I get it 100%.
But they also say they want the money that was from their past life, too.
You will be surprised. I've never seen guys who do a lot of time get out. I helped my buddy get out who did 30 years, 27 on 30. Mm-hmm. Good friend of mine to this day. As a matter of fact, you can interview him. Great guy. Paralegal, one of the smartest legal minds I know. He remembers me in prison. He goes, like, you were the craziest motherfucker I know. Great guy. His name's Paul Tellini. And to this day, we're friends. I picked him up when he got out of prison because I know how hard that is. Because people are institutionalized. I was totally institutionalized. I tell people this all the time. I was so fucked up inside. I was institutionalized, not knowing I was. Intelligent, read the papers, did everything. You fucking can't help but being institutionalized. I could not function on the outside.
Yeah, what was some hard things to reintegrate?
I'll tell you what, Ian, I could not buy a cup of coffee. I had a friend of mine. He used to court me. I'm a golfer. So he buys me golf clubs all. So we'd go to the golf club. And whatever he ordered, I said, I'll take the same. I couldn't order. And I'll tell you why. The average person today, everyone in the studio, Nick, you guys, Sean, all these guys, they're going to make 1,500 choices today. That's the average, give or take. The average inmate makes 100 choices a day. You don't got to know what you're eating, what you're wearing, what you're doing, where you're going. They make 100. Now you take that dude and throw him in the street. It's called sensory overload. You fucking can't do it. I tried to do it. I'll tell you a story. I got out of prison and I get out of prison at Forest City, Arkansas. Another fucking bad prison. I'm in a gang unit in fucking Forest City. That's how much the prison hated me. I'm in Forest City, Arkansas. I'm coming back to Florida, going to a halfway house. I want to take a bus. Fuck. I've been on Con Air 16 times. I've been fucking on more planes. Always in shackles and fucking blue boxes and fucking, the black, the box.
Yeah.
And fucking, I want to get on a fucking bus free. So I don't want anybody to pick me up. I want to go and get a bus ticket. I have money in my account. I'm ready to go. First things happen, Ian. They bring me downstairs. It's the day of the leaving. Change me out. Guy gives me money. I say, hey, where do I change that money? Looks at me. I go, give me my money. I had $275 in my account. They give you $25. I had 250 something, 55, I think it was. And I had $25. They give you $25 gate money. Big fucking. To this, I don't know. I don't know what they give today.
They gave me $25.
Holy fuck! Yeah. Now some things don't change.
They pay for the flight and shit though.
Yeah, yeah. Flight.
Yeah, they gave me a flight back to Connecticut.
A flight?
Yeah, they put me on a flight.
Shit, I was on a bus.
Yeah, they gave me a flight. They paid for the ticket.
What prison?
Wisconsin, Oxford.
I was in fucking Forest City. They gave me a bus ticket.
Yeah.
So anyway, I get on the fucking. I said, give me my money. He goes, that's your money. I said, don't fuck with me. I want my money. He goes, that's your money. I'm mad. Money changed 3 times. If you guys remember money back in the day, money has now got a colored head. It's big. It's totally different than what I went to prison in. When I went to prison, money was money. Now I thought it was like a note. You go to the bank and they give you your real money. That's what I thought it was. He convinces me it's money. I said, okay, I got money. I got $270 pocket. I mean, now listen, can you spot an undercover cop? You know you can. Well, fuck, you can spot a dude who just fucking come from fucking prison. Bobo fucking sneakers, a fucking jeans, a white shirt, fucking psychopath. They drop you off at the bus station the minute it comes. They'll wait with you. They want you out of that fucking town. So they give me the bus ticket. I give it to the bus driver. I get on the bus. I sit down, and I sit next to this fucking blonde, good-looking girl. Holy fuck. I ain't seen a fucking broad. First of all, for years, I didn't even see a car. Because in Atlanta, for years, you didn't see a car because of the 40-foot wall. I thought a Chrysler 300 was a Rolls Royce. That's how fucked up I was. Anyway, I sit next to this girl, and she's got a phone. This is 2007. It was a Razor flip phone. I don't know if you guys remember Razor flip phone.
Yeah, I remember the Razor.
And I go, what the fuck is that? I ask her, can I see your phone? Think of how that sounds right off the bat. Who the fuck sees somebody's phone?
You're just fascinated.
She's fucking looking at me like this psychopath that's fucking looking at her phone. And I take her phone. And I'm thinking, how can these fucking fat fingers touch these little buttons? I closed the phone because she was on it. Give it back, hung up or whatever it was. Because you got to remember, when I went to prison, I had a Motorola phone I beat people with. I could make a commercial out of that.
And a beeper.
Beat people and make a phone call all the same day. So anyway, I'm fucking sitting there, and I'm doing this, Ian. I'm going like this with my hands high. I'm free. I'm fucking free. I'm like, I must have looked like the fucking wackiest motherfucker on the planet.
Yeah.
Next stop, she gets up and moves. I had a seat by myself the whole trip. Nobody fucking sat next to me. Oh, wow. I didn't think of any of it. I'm looking out the window. I'm like fucking really a lost soul. Next thing over to PA, all right, everybody, we're going to pay 40 minutes for lunch. 40 minutes, we're pulling in for gas for lunch. Gas for lunch. Well, when I went to prison, a gas station sold cigarettes, beer, sodas. Nah. We pull in, and there's a Subway. There's a Food Mart. And I remember that fat pedophile now, that scumbag, Jared
Fogle.
Fuck, but I want a fucking Subway sandwich. They got money in my pocket. I go, fuck, get out. Worried about the time. I'm watching. I had the Timex. You remember the Timex?
Yeah, they saw the Casio, too.
The Casio, that's what it was.
That was a popular one, yeah.
I fucking go on. I get online. I look up. I freeze. I fucking freeze. People are behind me. I'm fucking feeling fucking nervous. I can't make a choice. I could not fucking say the words. I left that line, Ian, and I went on the bus. Literally, I was crying. I'm a fucking psychopath as it is. If it wasn't for my cousin, look at me, I'm getting emotional. If it wasn't for my cousin, who I called from the next station, who's a psychologist, I'm very close with her. She said, Larry, you're in a very dangerous spot. I want you to get on that bus. I want you to don't talk to anybody. I want you to get back to where you get there. And she told me you have sensory overload. You can't make a choice. You're going to kill somebody. And I was ready to do something to somebody to go back to prison.
And the system's not even preparing you for this.
Nothing.
They just
you know that.
Yeah, they threw you out.
I don't know if they changed. Yeah. Not a fucking thing.
No, they didn't do shit for me when I got
look
out.
at me. I fucking end up fucking getting to the prison. I get there. I didn't eat for 24 hours. I literally sat in that fucking corner. If somebody came close to me, I'd feel bad because what I would have did to them. I get into the halfway house, and I'm locked up. And I felt good. I'm locked up. I'm fucking locked up. And I fucking, from that process, I learned so much. My cousin, such a genius. If it wasn't for her, I know I would have did something to somebody. Because I just was not capable of fucking functioning in the real world. Coming from penitentiaries. Coming from very violent places where a look could kill you. I tell people, they think you're badass. You want respect? Go to prison. Because if you bump into someone, you better fucking say, excuse me. Because if you're in a penitentiary, you don't say, excuse me, you just might die that night. And I know that sounds trivial, but you know what I mean. It will happen.
How long did it take you to finally adjust?
Well, it was funny. I was in the halfway house. I ended up getting a job. They make you get a job. I was in Tampa. I ended up fucking the girl next to me. That was the first time I got laid when I got out. That was pretty cool. But anyway, my buddy Dennis saw that I could not make a choice on fucking ordering a fucking sandwich. And he says to me, Larry, he goes, we're sitting here. He used to eat a fucking piece of chicken, nothing, bland, this fucking piece of shit. He goes, no way you like this. He goes, read the menu. Order what you want. We're not going anywhere. And I did. And then I ordered it, and it was like, I'm like, that kind of almost broke me. And then the first thing I've ever ordered was a number one of McDonald's.
A McDonald's, the Big Mac.
Because it was a Big Mac.
I mean, you do a little bit more each day, and you pick up the pieces.
It's funny, Ian, because I end up fucking totally, obviously time helps you, and it's funny because to this day, I fucking get the GBs if a cop is behind me, and I'm clean as a motherfucking whistle.
Dude, that happens to me whenever I see a cop car on the highway, or a fucking cop walks into a room that I'm at, and I don't do anything illegal, but like if they did and they're there, like I'm nervous as shit. Like my heart's pounding, and it's just like that trauma from that, like that. It's literally PTSD.
Totally.
Like just like standing in line with them.
I do nothing. No, I do drugs. I do my tip, but I don't do anything illegal. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna sell drugs. I'm not gonna do things. Listen, I make good money. I do my life. I have a good time. I enjoy people. I like to educate people. I like to do what I do. But I fucking get and you get this defense mode.
Yeah.
It's just what it is.
What was your relationship with your children and your wives at that point?
I'll tell you what, my children, I got to give a lot of credit. I went to prison when my son was 7. I got out and he was 18. I went to prison when my daughter was 15 months old, and I got out and she was 13. My daughter never knew me, ever. She thought I was a truck driver or whatever the fucking they told her. She used to visit me. So my daughter and I'm very close with my kids. They actually, my daughter and my son respect the fact that I went away. I was offered 3 years to rap
on the mob.
I wouldn't do it. They took $6 million from me, and I was offered 3 years. I wouldn't do it, and it wasn't because I was scared of somebody else. I was the muscle. I was the crazy fuck. But it's just something again, and I think it was from my dad. I think it was from my that. And that's why I tell you my word. If I tell you I'm going to be there, I'm going to be here. And when someone does something, what they did, I don't like that. You tell you're going to be here. That's got better be a very good reason you're not here.
Yeah. And if you can't be there, make it right.
Bingo. 100%. And it can happen. Listen, something can happen to me, and my mom's sick, and I couldn't make it. I pay everything they did. You know what I mean? Whatever we did, I would take care of it. I just don't. People's word. Listen, if we came here and these two dudes weren't here, I'd say, who the fuck are these motherfuckers? But they're here. They're good. Their word means something. Who they are means something. That means more. Listen, I'll tell you, people, as a guy who's going to be 62 years old in October, I'll tell you one thing. I was a millionaire 3 times over already. 3 times I was a millionaire. Money is great. Yeah, to me, it's a scorecard. Memories, people's words, and the situation. Like, I'm here right now. I don't want to be anywhere else right now, period, on the planet. I don't give a fuck. People say, I don't give a fuck if it's a celebrity or this, and I've been with a lot of them. I don't give a fuck. I want to be right here. I'm here. I'm having a good time, having a drink, talking and bullshit with you guys. That's where I want to be. I'm happy. When that stops, I will stop what I'm doing, and I will get to where I'm happy again. And I hope people get that with my story or your story or any story. I love people who work, the hustle, the stuff. I love working with Nick. I like working with Darian, my editor, my son. I like working with the people. I get mad at them. I'm fucking normal. I'm a crazy fuck.
That's what makes you original, though, unique,
But I love it,
Did you feel bad, like, putting your kids through that, like getting out? Do you feel like you owed them something to rebuild that relationship?
I'm sure I did, and I'm sure that's why I spoiled the fuck out of them, which I shouldn't. But what I do believe is my kids told me how proud of that I am, because my kids know my reputation on the street was just impeccable. And trust me, my son was smart. He used to ride up and down in front of the bar when he was a kid, and they'd stop. Hey, kid, come here. Here's 20. How's your dad doing? You know, he figured a hustle out.
They took care of it. Yeah.
You know, he figured a hustle out.
What did you get in for work after prison? Like, what did you do for work?
Well, you know, I got lucky in this aspect. When I first got out of prison, Ian, a guy comes up to me and says to me, he goes, a friend of mine, he's a golf pro. He goes, Larry, I need a favor. I said, what? What the fuck? I'll break your fuck you, motherfucker. Thinking he wants me to do something bad.
Yeah.
He goes, no, I'm sorry, Larry. He goes, I caught my 16-year-old smoking weed, and he told me, fuck you, Dad, where have you ever been? I said, your son told you that? Now, this is 2007. Forget weed today. But even, I don't believe young kids should smoke weed anyway. But anyway, he goes, your son told you that? You want to talk lucky, Ian? I have my video, which is ranked #1 video for helping kids. I have pictures and shit of me in prison with gang members, mobsters, guys with life sentence. You know what I mean? I have fucking the pictures I have that you can't do anymore. I don't think you can do that anymore. Can
you can still take pictures in the.
But can you take it with other people, like gangsters and shit?
Yeah, you can take pictures. Yeah.
Okay. See, I heard that in the penitentiaries.
Oh, I don't know about in the pens, but in the Lowe's and stuff, you could still go around. You take they have the community photos. You buy the.
You can go in the yard and take them.
Yeah, you could take. They had a camera guy that got paid.
They even stopped that when I was in.
Yeah, they were still doing that.
Oh, good. At least they're good. That made me feel good. But anyway, so I have pictures of me with mobsters, gangsters, people who dead, a lot of shit, and I put them all together. And I went and talked to the kid, and I said 2 curse words. I said, you told your father where the fuck he's been? Let me show you where the fuck I just come from. This kid looked, now I'm a big guy. He looked like, oh shit, And I started telling him stories about the kid who got his anus cut, other stories, a lot of stories. And at the end of the day, I said, listen, me kid, I'm doing your father a favor. You want to go to prison, you're going to see somebody I know. I don't give a fuck. How's that? I don't give a fuck. You go there, he's going to fuck you so fucking hard, you fucking never walk again in your life. The kid's looking at me like, what the fuck? This guy's crazy. Dad gives me $100. And I leave. Didn't ask for it. Because Larry, thank you very much. I was talking to the kid for a while, hour and a half or whatever. He's probably worried I beat the kid to death or something.
Scared straight program.
It wasn't. No. See, Ian, everybody thinks that, but I don't yell. I don't scream. I tell a story.
Yeah.
And I end up, the kid says, Dad, I don't want to go wherever Mr. Lawton went ever. I need help. To this day, that kid's doing great. And, that guy gave my number. I'm getting $100 here, getting $100 there, getting $100. Fuck. I get a phone call from the court. Court lady says, I'm Gene Banish. I'd like to talk to Mr. Lawton. Yeah, I'm here. Judge Ryman wants to see us. I ain't seen no. You got a warrant? You got a subpoena? I ain't going to see no judge. No, the judge wants to talk to you about what you do. I said, listen, I know the law. Do you have a warrant? Do you have a subpoena? I want to know what. No, Mr. Lawton, they want to know that I'm helping kids. They convinced me to come in. We find out years later that I'm not supposed to be in the chambers with the judge on paper and all this shit. I go to the fucking meeting on a Friday, and I showed it, my nephew since passed. He ends up showing me how to put a 10 slide PowerPoint. I don't even know what a fucking PowerPoint is. You got to remember, I don't know shit.
Yeah.
I showed his PowerPoint what I'm doing, and the judge says, would you like to stay? I said, no, I'm leaving. I leave the fucking chambers. I'm uncomfortable as shit. I'm in a courtroom. Monday comes. Lady goes, Mr. Lawton, I have to give you a heads up. The judge sentenced 2 people to your program. What fucking program?
Now you have a program.
Now, I actually developed the #1 program right now in the United States helping young people stay.
And this is all because that friend introduced you to their son.
Yeah.
That's fate right there. That's fate, destiny, whatever you want to call it. Like everything you've been through prepared you to that.
I don't know if it would have happened or not happened. Yeah. I mean, I love what I do. Listen, I only tell stories to try to affect people in the right way.
I mean, to me,
I don't glorify what I've done.
No, but I think when people hear stories like yours or mine or whatever, when you look at the whole picture and you don't dissect it in parts, like you don't look at the crime, just the crime aspect, and you don't look at just the motivational ending, you piece everything together to see what the person went through and see how they came around it. That shit is inspiring. Like, I love those kinds of stories. Like, that's great. You literally went from robbing jewelry stores, working with the mob, to becoming like one of the biggest YouTubers for your genre. Like, that's insane.
And even more than that, it's like when my program is used in court systems, people get sentenced to what I do. They have to take my video, they have to watch it, they have to take a test, they have to pass it. Police agencies use it to try to help people. I'm the only ex-con who's an honorary police officer. How fucked up is that?
Oh, they gave you a badge?
I have a badge.
Unbelievable.
I have I'm the only ex-con in the United States ever recognized on the floor of the United States Congress.
Now that they need to give you a pardon.
That would be good too. But I'm the only one ever. I'm in the congressional records. So in 300 years, when they go through the history of America,
They remember
they're
a
gonna
lot.
go, who the fuck is that guy who got fucking recognized on the floor of the United? They read a whole congressional record that's in the record.
I think they're going to look at your YouTube videos before anyone does
Yeah,
that.
you know they are. We know they are.
So how do you then turn that into this big social media brand? Like, when do you realize the potential of what you were doing?
You know, that's a great question because you're right. I was recognized before all of the social media.
Yeah, this is 2007. Like, crime wasn't really...
No. 2013 is when I was recognized on Congress.
But even so, like, Wolf of Wall Street just dropped is when they started promoting, like, that aspect of it. Like, I don't know what the right word is for it, but that's when it started to become big, like, popular. There was no TikTok back then. People were telling prison stories. It was just
there was no
different.
YouTube.
Yeah, it was different.
2007, was it YouTube out? I don't even know.
Maybe, but it wasn't. It was like...
It was Nick saying, yeah. Was it Nick, honestly? When did YouTube drop?
We watched, like, how-to videos.
About 2007?
Yeah. We were watching, like, Coke and Mentos and stuff like that on YouTube. It wasn't, like, this prison stuff. I mean, they had, like, American Greed, whatever, but I think, like, Wolf of Wall Street brought it to a new level in a way, and then you're coming along. How does that process unfold?
You know, I never thought about it like what you just said. I do know when I started YouTube, I only started it 3 years ago, and I started it because I got fucked over by Vanity Fair and then Con Nest Travel. And actually, No Jumper did a whole fucking video on that and put it up. Just the video of me blasting fucking Con Nest Travel, not Con Nest Travel, Vanity Fair.
Yeah.
And I did that because, listen, I don't do anything for money per se. I do it because I like to do it. I think it's right. I think money comes with it.
You do what you love, and the money will follow.
I got a team that they need kicked in the ass, but they're great. I do love them. I really do.
Should hire me on the team.
You're coming. Don't think you're not. Don't think I ain't fucking talked to Nick already about
it. I'm hungry, Larry.
I love it.
I'm ambitious, and I'm hungry.
And I see that.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that to even joke. You're the age that I love. You're 27, and my Nick is 25. My son's there. I love working with young people, even your studio guys. Everybody's
they're young. I mean, Larry, the thing with me is, like, I literally had so much at such a young age, and I lost it all. And, like, things got so fucked up. So to me, like, this is like my redemption to, like, get that back. And, like, I'm willing to do whatever it takes to get to that level.
And you'll be, obviously, you're a smart young guy. You're dedicated. You got a work ethic I love. That's mine. I mean, who at my age got a work ethic? Like, I just will work and work.
Yeah.
It's just because I love what I do. And I think when people see that, they recognize that. Social media I did not know what YouTube was before I started this shit. I did not know what fucking Instagram and Facebook and the stuff we miss. I'm not into it. I'm a big reader. I'm a communicator with you. I like people. I think when you can change people's lives, I know social media is so needed today. And the more good people we get behind social media, I think the better we'll all be.
Well, you put a lot of thought into it. Like, I remember your first email you ever sent to me. It's like this. Creators don't respond like that. You sent me like a 6-paragraph email, and it was like very pleasant.
I remember emailing you because Nick is the one who told me about you. And then I said, and I totally did. I did a whole email because I thought about it. And then I look him up and do things. I look at it, and I smart guy. I like it, and he's going play, and I always believe that. Again, I don't care what size people get and whatever I ever get, or you get, or people get. I did a podcast so small the other day. Nick goes, I said, listen, Nick, give the kid a hand. He's trying. I used to do this with my program. If a parent only emailed me once, I wouldn't see their kid. But if they emailed twice or 3 times, definitely. Because that means they want the help. It's not just, oh, I'll pay them the help. I'll pay them. They want it. They want to do it. They want it. They care. They I look at it, listen, when I first started in YouTube and all this stuff, I blew up pretty quickly because it was a timing thing. I got lucky a lot of ways. And you got good content, whatever it is. But I also had people that were willing to talk to you, willing to bring you on. I've had the assholes too. We talked about that.
You need the assholes though to grow. Like that's a part of it.
You know what? It makes you think, oh, fuck yourself. Fuck you. And I like people who understand what we do. Because you and I both know, and we've talked about it already, it's a grind, but you have a message. And I think my ultimate message, yes, it's a grind. My ultimate message is don't do the stupid shit I did when I was younger and crazy shit. Because you can make it now, like what you're doing. I love that you have this. I'm telling you, you impressed me more in these 24. I mean, just these guys are impressive. The studio is impressive. The way you set it up is impressive. And yeah, I hope we do work together in a lot of ways.
Thank you, Larry.
And listen, I need a little less than most people because I'm at my level. I have my RV. I love that. I love doing things. Come up here. I got a studio in the RV. And, I traveled already to fucking Mount Rushmore and shit and did videos. And so you could do things.
Why do you think people gravitate towards your content? What do you think it was about you? Do you ever stop and think? I'm thinking I'm very self-aware and thinking about my brand and the message I'm putting out there. Have you gotten a moment to think about what you're doing and making sure you never stray from that and kind of seeing that value?
Yeah, I'll tell you a great point. I have a lot of very, very influential friends. I'm a good friend of mine is a guy who literally invented the iPhone Touch. Literally sold the Apple. Great
That's
friend,
awesome.
Great friend. I have a lot of very good friends. And you know what they always say? Larry, your story is one, nobody's got it. Meaning to go through what you went through in your whole life. People often say, holy shit. And, not one bit, Ian, not 1 second is made up. I mean that. People have vetted me, the writers in my book and companies. You go, holy shit, you're real. You ever been on Concrete?
No, I want to get on that podcast.
Good friend of mine. I'll get you. Great. He'll like you.
Yeah, I think that would be good
guy,
for me.
too.
Thank you.
So he's had me on a bunch of times. He wants me to come all the time. So his producer was on with me like this, and he goes, Larry, you've been on here, I don't know, 3 times, 4 times, an hour, 3 hours. 4. He goes, I sit here and I Google and I do everything you talk about. Holy shit. Not one thing ever was even off. I go, 'cause I don't have to lie. I live this life, so it's I think people are intrigued that I'm sometimes even think, wow, I did really do all this shit.
Sometimes,
from
you got to think
congressional
about
record
it.
to fucking honorary police officer to fucking robbing all this shit I did. I think, wow, where did I get the time to do shit?
Yeah.
But it comes at a cost of some things, obviously. Cost of time, my family, cost of time. Listen, my dad, I was very close with, and he had Alzheimer's, and I lost the best years of his life, and I can't ever get it back. So I got my mom, which I take care of my mom, and she'll never go to a home. I'll take care of her for the rest of her fucking life.
That's great.
And so other than that, I like working with young people. I love working with young people. Nick is a refreshing. Drives me nuts. I like young people that are, listen, you guys are smart. You just got to accept, sometimes us guys, what people don't get in my whole business even, I tell people, I'm no smarter than you. I just got more experience, a place you don't want to go. That's it. That's the only thing I got. I happen to be an intelligent guy, all that crap, but you guys are smart. I'd be an idiot not to listen to you, look at you, and take what you'd say as with the appreciation or with the respect it deserves, and vice versa. I'm not smarter than you, but I have experience of a place, especially prisons or certain things. You don't want to go and live that life because, yeah, it's exciting, but you're not going to like the heartache that comes along with that.
Yeah.
And with that, obviously, I think that's the most important.
Now, if you could go back to your younger self that had just gotten out of the military and you were standing right next to that person, what would you say to him?
It's so hard, Ian, to do that because our past makes us who we are today. Would I be who I am today if I didn't go through everything I just went through? The bad parts, the bad parts. There's parts I don't want to talk about, obviously, violent certain parts. But I don't know. Listen, I think you, me, Nick, the key people, all you guys right here in this room, I think our brains will get us where we want to go. And we just have to let that go and accept the knowledge and keep going with it and fight it and learn. The minute you stop learning, people tell me all the time, listen to me. The best saying I say to people, when you're 20, you think you know it all. Holy fuck. You think you're a fucking smart motherfucker. When you hit 30, you look back and you go, man, I was a stupid motherfucker at 20. Yeah. When you hit 40, you look back and go, man, I didn't know shit at 30. When you hit 50, you look back and go, am I ever going to learn shit? When you hit 60, you say, fuck, I'm still learning. The minute I stop learning from you or Shane or any of these guys, I'm done. And I don't ever want to be done. Till I die, I want to learn.
I mean, it could be as simple as just like telling your old self, like, stay the course and everything's going to work out. I think if I had known that, at 18 years old, just everything's going to piece together. Because when I look back at everything now, every girl I dated, every business decision, everything I did, prison, the whole 9 yards, everyone I met, the experiences, it brought me to literally where I am right now. And it's an opportunity to make something out of all this.
And bigger and better.
Bigger and better. I mean, like, my business, like, yeah, I owned a nightclub and stuff, but it was never really generating, like, it brought in money, but not like a profit. And now comparing to now.
I don't care what it brings in.
Yeah.
See, here's the difference. See, when you look at everything you had, like, I look at all the stuff I owned my own limousine and I had and it's very hard to tell someone today, oh, it don't mean anything. I had a limousine and a driver and multiple homes and houses and horses and boats and cars. I had all that shit. And it's easy to tell someone, oh, it don't mean shit because it's not about money. What I try to say is it really, the older you get, to realize it's more about memories and who you meet. Now, you might make memories with whatever you get. Pick and choose the people you associate with very quickly. I mean, nicely. I never made enemies, Ian, no matter where I was, on the way up or way down. And then my dad told me that. He goes, Larry, you're going to do a lot in life. He goes, on the way up, don't ever fucking disrespect people and don't make enemies because you'll meet them on the way down. Yeah. And I respect waiters and busboys. I don't give a fuck. I take care of people.
That old saying, treat the custodian the same way you would treat the CEO.
Absolutely, man. Because, listen, you don't know another person's situation. You don't know what they've been through. And we all, with the right opportunity. Now, obviously, you're smart and people are smart, and that's why you're at your position you're at. If you weren't, you wouldn't be there. Period. And that's okay, too, because the people, they always say the world needs everything.
Yeah.
So everybody can't be a boss. So I often tell people just to, listen, the more you realize where you're at and be in the presence. My cousin told me this, Larry. She goes, be in the present right now. Be where you are right now. If you could be where you are right now, that's why I do totally enjoy this conversation. Or totally enjoy whoever presence I'm in.
It's a different spin on things.
Well, it's an important spin because when you could be in that presence with somebody, you can truly connect with them.
Absolutely.
And with that.
Larry, thank you for coming on the show, man. Where could people find you at? You got to plug in, your stuff.
It's easy. Just Google Larry Lawton.
Yeah, you're all over Google.
It's just all you got to do is Google Larry Lawton. But I want them, I want them to understand about we got cigar. That's great. crookeddiamondcigar.com. The cigars are great. If they use promo code loyalty15, they get 15% off everything. And when you get $200 a box of cigars, that's $60 off. That's a pretty good jump.
Quite the salesman,
right? Well, it is. It's loyalty15.
And buy the book.
The book, Gangster Redemption. It's an amazing story. Listen, I tell people buy the book now because when the movie comes out, it's going to be worth money. But
awesome, man. Thank you, Larry.
Thank you for having me. And
Thanks
I really
for coming,
appreciate
man.
it. I had a great time.
Yeah.
Thank you.